And we are live.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School Blurred Herd Special Edition, where we are discussing Ahsoka on Disney Plus. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I'm here with my man
Steve. Real name, no gimmicks, not in HD. Oh, there we go. There we go.
I don't know what you're in, man. That's not even standard.
420.
Yeah, 420. And who do we have here? Who's our other Blurred Herder?
Yo, what's up, y'all? You might know me as Shaolin Iceboxer. I'm usually hanging out in the chat, but I'm here hanging out in person now.
That's right. It is the original, the one, the only, the Shaolin Iceboxer. If you guys were wondering who that debonair motherfucker in the chat is, well, here he is. He's handsome as well. How are you today, brother?
Hey, look, I'm great, man. I'm great. The crew is back together, man. And
yeah,
I mean, what more could I ask for?
Yeah, seriously, we had to talk about this. And Steve, thank you for coming up with this idea to do an emergency episode.
Man, I was watching it, right? No thanks to you two spoilers, man. I
was about to mega spoil. That was what we had said so far in our chat was not even that bad. And
I can tell you were gassed up though. Like it was just coming out. It just was just.
I wrote like a paragraph of stuff, and I was about to send it. And I was like. And I deleted it all, and I go, Steve, have you watched it?
I had to do some stuff around the house first. You know, I've been off for the past 2 days. And then I was like,
Must be nice.
Myself to some Ahsoka. Yeah, that's right. I deserve a day off too, motherfucker. I was like, I'm going to treat myself to some Ahsoka, man. And real talk, I turned it on, and I had to turn it off because the beginning was too intense for me. I didn't know what I was getting into. Like, I read 2 words and I was like, "Oh, they're going classic Star Wars. Let me stop this. Finish the dishes."
Yeah, that's hysterical. The same thing. I was like, I was multitasking. I was doing some work while it was on. I do that with a lot of shows. And then I looked over, and when I first saw the ship, the rebel ship in the beginning, I was like. And I stopped doing my work, and I put it on the big screen, and I actively paid attention.
Yeah.
And so I rewound it as well.
When I got when Balin and Shin, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
When they board the ship, and when Balin starts talking, and that testosterone, that dude has presence, man.
Yeah.
It's very sad he's no longer with us, man, because he command he is in charge when he's speaking.
Ray Stevenson, rest his soul. He passed away this year after filming.
It's just crazy, man. I'm like, yo, this guy.
Hold on, I got to do this right now publicly. Some people might be wondering why there was no pillow talk this week, and I have to come and throw myself in front of the church, right, and say that I was harassing poor Bex at 9 p.m. to get her computer shit ready, and I was like, all right, she didn't respond. I put my head on my pillow. And I woke up at like 11:30. I'm like, ah!
Are you serious? Yo, I had a similar thing. I was watching the debate. I was watching the Republican debate, and I looked at it, and it was like 11 o'clock, and I was like, oh shit! And I looked, I was like, oh, they didn't go on. Good thing.
It's funny too. On Monday, or not Monday, Fanboy was Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was a little gassed up, but I was excited, because of the topic. I want to talk about those fuck boys fresh and fit,
Yeah.
And then I wake up at like 11:45, and I'm like, and it's still going. Like I'm still listening to you guys. I'm like, oh, you fell asleep. Damn.
I
get it, man. I get it.
It's funny, and some of the topics from our Tuesday thing, they keep going. I'm still seeing fresh and fit videos being made. I'm still seeing videos about Logan Paul and his girl being made.
Yeah, that's because Dylan Dennis has 3 phones and he ain't letting it go, man. He is not letting it go at all.
Checking in with the chat, we've got Rogue Radio saying, "Oh my God, my favorite Fen boys at it again." Yes, thank you so much. Our man Pony up in there, he says, "I dig this song." Thank you. Team says, "What a handsome bunch." Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bellboy in here. Hello, brothers. How are you, my man? We got Rebex complaining about how much fanboy she's getting this week. Whatever. Pony says, "I'm pissed." Pony, what are you pissed about?
Because there's no pillow talk.
Oh, okay. They'll do a double episode next week. I've committed them to it.
Hey, real quick, I am slightly curious. Real quick, what was the topic?
Oh yeah, what was the topic?
We were supposed to be talking about girl code, and in my usual fashion, I want Bex to break it down with the science of the girl code, because I think it's the most denied thing in the world, right? And I actually wanted to parlay that into people staying on code, right? Courtney, you may not know this about me, man, but I am a dissenter, right? I cannot stand when motherfuckers stay on code for some dumb shit. I'm like, kick that motherfucker out right now. Like Juicy Smoulier, I wasn't staying on code for that shit.
Hey, look, damn straight. Look, the black community frowned upon his shenanigans, and I was at the forefront of the council with that nonsense.
Yo, no, I fell for it. I fell for it. When people started questioning his story, I immediately was like, "There are racists." Me of all people.
I was about to say you.
Yes. And I was like, what is this hating? What is this hating? What is this hating? And then finally it was just overwhelmingly clear that he did. And I was like, ouch.
It's like the sister who pretended to be kidnapped, man. I actually sent that IG out when the story broke about her coming up missing to like multiple people, and then as it started to dawn on me that this was all a crock of shit.
I don't understand how people get that, because I too, like when it was happening and people started questioning, I was like, why question her? This poor girl got kidnapped by weird white people in the middle of nowhere.
Like, who would make that? Who would go?
Yeah, who would make? I don't even understand the mentality anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
apparently that bitch was.
There you go.
So I guess I'm the naive fool. People are selling me bridges all damn day.
Well, hold on. I don't know if you saw Dr. Kumar's response to that, but he's the naive fool because he looked like a straight idiot. The way he can go on that bullshit with that girl. I'm sorry.
Oh, he was just defending her to the bitter end.
Wait, while we got Courtney up here, man.
Hey, Lainey, welcome in.
What up, Lainey? I know Courtney scours this manosphere shit, right? Just as much as I do. I like to keep an eye on these motherfuckers, Courtney, right? You need to know what these people are saying. Once you kick them off the platform, who knows what the fuck they're plotting? But I keep an eye on them. It's my job to police the internet.
That's right.
Courtney, your official thoughts. We don't have to linger here long on the fresh and fit scenario since you fell asleep the other night.
Oh, it couldn't have come at a better time. It was completely deserved. It was wonderful seeing that grown ass man, the stoic, strong, powerful man, Myron, crying like a little bitch boy, sobbing. Oh, as fulfilling as it was to save the kids, saving you guys is better. Man, shut your corny ass. Yo, get out.
Yeah, you want to know even more naivety coming from me. I knew they were fuckboys. I was like, whatever. But when they got demonetized, I was like, they're a-holes. But these poor guys lost their business.
Listen,
this is messed up.
Oh, I listened. I went back and I listened to the whole podcast the next day, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I love you, brother, but no. But then you came around once you learned the whole story.
Once I learned the whole story, other things they do, grimy things they do to other creators, no.
Look, yo, racist to the bone. I do not like how they talk about black women. You look, you can have preferences all you want, all right? But you're not going to disrespect and call them Shaniquas and
Night Riders.
Okay, look in the mirror, man. Especially the other dude who stumbles and bumbles. He can't even put two sentences together, but we're supposed to believe he's a dating coach.
Trust me, that short dude, if he did not have a successful YouTube channel, he would not get laid.
Dude, he's got the IQ of this incense stick right here. And I'm supposed to believe he can coach me on life?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Those two actually, this might have been the worst L they took, but it's the one that's not talked about at all. So once upon a time, they got invited by the new Black Panther Party. That's right. You heard me correctly. Members of the new Black Panther Party to come on to an IG Live, speaking of Myron and Fit. And this one brother came up, like they were getting cooked the whole night, right? But they were still holding their own. And out of nowhere, this older gentleman comes up and he kind of pops up on the screen, and Myron had left. And he was like, hey, I want to say greetings and salutations to everyone. It's the good brother, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, hey, before we continue, my brothers, I'm going to need for us to get Myron back up here. And Myron was taking too long to get up. And he's like, yeah, let's go ahead and get the Sudanese Sambo back up here. Yo, just like Academic said, man, as soon as that man said my brother and he levitated into the screen, I was like, oh, this dude's about to cook these fools, man. Called him the Sudanese Sambo.
Oh my gosh, man. As far as I'm concerned, he can go the hell back to Sudan. I don't care. You know what I mean? He can go where all the people I don't like can go. I just write them out of mind. I hope to never see their asses again. That's what I hope. Go work for the FBI. That's a lucrative career. Go do that shit. Leave YouTube alone.
Yo, you know what's crazy though, brothers, is the fact that more than likely they're going to be back. So I was watching a guy that who covers this type of shit, and he's like, yeah, YouTube has demonetized big platforms before, but there's a good chance that they come back. Like if it's over, there's no conversation. Like YouTube releases the official statement, and that's that. The fact that they didn't left some ambiguity in, they could, if Myron and them push this issue enough, like, hey, you know, they could get back, they can be re-platformed. But here's the fact of the matter, man. These motherfuckers are going to Rumble, even though Rumble is facing some issues. I think in the climate that we're in right now, enough people are going to start going to Rumble to support it, man. And they're going to be back up.
'Tis the season, because obviously political season means more people are getting kicked off of YouTube. So that means they're going to Rumble, which means they're just going to have more content. So that's good for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the right content, because they can't be all political. Rumble. They need to have some other stuff going on in there.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I'm not being a hater just to be a hater with Fresh and Fit. Those, you have to earn my disdain. Okay. Right. I pride myself on being respectful and open.
You are the most respectful man in the world.
I appreciate that. But those two ass clowns, they got everything they deserve, and I don't feel bad at all for them.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Are you brothers ready to break down? So the reason I go ahead. I know you want to hit the chat.
Yeah, I want to hit the chat. Just I don't leave our brothers and sisters hanging. Rebecca says that girl had me worrying about her at dinner, in the shower, and everything. She needs to be smacked by the whole community.
Yeah, for real.
And then Rebecca's on Fit and Fresh and Fit says he was really crying.
It was embarrassing.
Yo, here's what I'm saying. If you had a YouTube channel that was breaking millions, and the next day it was not, anyone would be crying. Though.
Right, I would be crying.
That's fair.
I would not cry so my ops can see it. Yo, Tariq Nasheed got a hold of this shit and he was reviewing it. And when Myron got up, he was like, yo, first of all, here's Mr. Alpha Male crying. And why does he have those hoochie daddy shorts on? He's like, why does he have WNBA shorts on?
No, they all do that. I noticed that they wear weird stuff. Their gear is really weird. It's like Sudanese or something. It's what's cool in the Sudan.
NBA jersey shorts. You know, it looks like he played in the NBA in the 80s. With high-ass shorts. You know?
It's like, why he got those Dominique Wilkins shorts on?
Your Rogue Radio says, y'all saved me. I was bored at work. That's what we're here for. Fanboy Modeling School.
That's right.
So I called this emergency meeting today, man, because, like, listen, I was not expecting what we got, man. Ahsoka Tano, a brief synopsis as me as a fan of the show Rebels, right? If you two brothers remember distinctly, Courtney, I just met you, and we had just, started like doing stuff, all of us together, like on Spoon, and I got COVID, and I was gonna watch some shit to binge watch, and I told you guys, hey, I'm gonna watch Rebels. I've never watched Clone Wars. It's too dense for me to jump into late now, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'll just jump into Rebels, and I'll kind of watch some recaps on Clone Wars. I watched Rebels, and I remember I told you guys, Mantis, you had a very visceral reaction, called it a childish show.
You played the hell out of that show.
And Courtney, you said you were like, yo, it's good enough. It adds to the story. So I watched it, man. You know what I really took away from this episode, man, was I felt like I was stepping into the next season of Rebels, but better.
So, you know what? So that is a great effect, and that's awesome. But I'm about to swipe down anybody who claims you have to be like a Rebels person. They're like, if you don't watch Rebels, you can't deal with this. Guys, I have seen no more than maybe 15 episodes of all of Rebels. Right. I've watched most of season 1, and then occasionally when I would hear like Darth Maul's going to be on it, I would watch those episodes. Right. And then of course I had to see the finale. But I really don't. I have mismatched understanding of everything. I don't have a deep lore of it, and I still love these episodes of Ahsoka.
And that's great actually, because that means that they did a good job. That's what that means. You don't have to.
But a lot of people on the internet are like, if you don't watch Rebels, you won't understand what's going on. There's a crawl in the beginning. Learn to read.
Right. Yeah. And I would say for anybody who's interested in going back and watching Rebels, I would tell you this: the first couple of seasons,
rough.
Yeah.
It was when Ezra like aged up a little bit. It got a bit more mature, and that's when it took off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would recommend, like, I guess, like season 3 and like beyond is when I would start. I wouldn't start at the beginning at all. I wouldn't do it.
So let's start off from the beginning. So there's a crawl, and here's where I think they did make a mistake. I like that the lettering is red. I don't understand why they didn't do the 3-dimensional crawl.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna do a crawl, you might as well do the Star Wars crawl that it's known for.
It's funny. When I'm thinking back at all the movies, did Solo have a crawl? I can't remember.
No. So they decided that only episodes or
proper
saga film, only saga films would have a crawl.
So that's what I was thinking, and maybe that's why they wanted to have it be the special thing. But I mean, if it's Star Wars, man, let's go epic, baby. I'm with you, man.
Because I remember when Rogue One came out, they jump right into it.
Yeah,
right.
Like they show the quiet of a planet, and then they quickly go, and he's walking on the planet, and you're like, what? And I was like, that's on Star Wars.
Yeah. And a complete side note: there has not been an opening since Rogue One in any property. I'm sorry, man. Rogue One still just has
the goat.
The
goat of the side films.
It is dark. It is like that opening. I was like, is this a Star Wars?
It's Disney's best.
It's all about it's writing and its performances, and there are some great performances, particularly what's his face playing the the head engineer, whatever his name was.
Oh yeah, Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
But I kind of got that vibe after the crawl, right? I got that vibe from the opening of this. You're right, man. Ray Stevens. First of all, I'm going to take a shot here, but it's not a hard shot, just a shot across the bow. I feel as if though they took a shot at Star Trek in the opening sequence. Like, I've never heard them maneuver or operate in a Star Wars film the way they did on the bridge to the
right. Super professionalism
thing, and
So I do feel you on that. However, there is another thing that I was going to get into that I like about this, and so here's what it is. When I was a kid, obviously the films, growing up with the films, boom, right? Films are super important. I was at the right age when all the books were coming out and the books were hot, and I used to read the books, and I used to say to people, yo, did you know that Luke Skywalker found a planet where there's these sisters of Dathomir? And people were like, that's not canon, you idiot. Only a movie is canon. And so I was that dork who had a big library of these things. And it's New Republic, it's New Jedi Order, stuff like that. And they've destroyed it, right? They've destroyed it. These 2 episodes, and I'm gathering the rest, are so New Republic era.
Right.
And I love that there's, because here's what it is. Mandalorian shows the New Republic to be boobs and incompetent. And I'm fine with that. That works for that show. But I do like seeing the grandioseness of the New Republic being badasses and kicking ass. And so I like seeing the starship. I like seeing all the things, the soldiers. I like seeing them winning. I like seeing E-Wings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you're on to something, man. And look, I'm with you because I feel like it just feels original. You know what I mean? Like the designs, like the droid she fights at the beginning with the electro staffs, the Inquisitor dude and like his assassin droid, the way the ships look, like it just all feels fresh and new. We're not on a damn sand planet anymore.
Thank God, right?
Like it just feels good. It just feels fresh and new, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm super enjoying it. I'm absolutely enjoying it. Oh man, so many things. So Ray Stevens and Shin, or whatever. They're killing it. I can't wait to find out more about them.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to take another shot across the bow here, man. And it's just, I'm not going to use words like feminist propaganda or woke agenda or any of that stuff. There was supposed to be a show called The Acolyte coming out, right? And we're in limbo. The Acolyte is somewhere.
That shit is woke feminist propaganda.
That show will be made the same day we see Mahershala Ali as Blade. I'm calling it now. Like they'll release.
No, they are filming it.
Same date as never. I'm telling you, it's like the Chronic 2000. It's not happening. But yeah, I really did like Ray Stevens and his Padawan, because I was like, man, the way he shows up and he's like, scan them for their ID. Oh, no need for that. You were right.
No,
we're not Jedi.
But yeah, but I do like, you know what I really love, and this is so intimidating. He starts acting, the captain's acting a fool, and then he says, "You're making a mistake."
Yeah,
he's like giving him a slight chance to back
down. Boy. It's just like a masculine, intimidating ass dude. You know what I mean? Like from the moment he speaks, I'm like, okay, this guy's the real deal right here. So
super minor praise, and this is super dorky. So here's what it is. I like all sorts of Jedi. Don't get me wrong, right. But I love it, particularly in Star Wars, when Jedi look medieval. Like his outfit and her outfit literally look like they could be Game of Thrones characters. And it's not until they pull out a lightsaber that you even know they're in a futuristic world. And I really like that. He really does look like he's some noble knight on a crusade.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, he has that presence about him, man. And then when he was time to throw down, he definitely did.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, this is to you, Shaolin, for sure, man. So, one of my biggest complaints about the new trilogy, right, was the fact that the Jedi had lost the ability to be competent with their lightsabers. Like these motherfuckers they're swinging like it's the Monty Python movies or some shit like that. Now, I want to ask you this, Shaolin, and Mantis, I want you to chime in. When Ren or Shen starts killing the people in the background, I was like, wow, she's really competent with that blade. Yeah. And when he's walking through the corridor, it really highlighted for me personally that not every Jedi or Sith uses the same fighting style. I know people are just like, what's the difference? He was stoic to a T, even in his approach in killing people. Absolutely. What do you think, brother? What do you think?
So again, this is kind of expanded universe stuff. But Dave Filoni would be the kind of guy to do this. And since he's the man running the show, there are different forms of lightsaber martial arts in Star Wars, right? There's 7 different styles. And he does a good job of having each person be distinct with it. You know what I mean? Look at these 2 episodes even. You know what I mean? Look at the way Ahsoka fights. Look at Sabine. You know what I mean? The novice. And then look at Shin. She's real kinetic and ferocious. Balin, he's got the brutish strength. Intimidating. Will you down to the ground. He did a good job of differentiating the fighting styles. I don't know if he'll call them by name because they all have names. And trust me, I know them because it's me. I don't know if he'll go that far, but he's good at least showing that it is a thing. And I appreciate that.
He is super he's referencing the hell out of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so even those even the droids that went after her, they were labeled HK droids.
Yes.
And so that's from that role playing game from Knights of the
Old Republic. Yes, sir.
Reference.
That's a deep cut right there, man. That is a deep cut. Love it.
And so he's doing it all, and I know he's such a nerd, he's such a fan, and this is why we need fans in charge of these things. Yeah. He's gonna reference as much as he can, and he's gonna make real fans feel comfortable and be like, I love that. For instance, I know a lot of people are just like, oh, those the starships that they went after Sabine and whatever they're flying, whatever, those were E-wings. And so in the New Republic series, that was the new fighter for the Republic.
Right.
And I really appreciated that he put that detail in there.
That's right.
Yeah. Nice.
Love it,
so check this out. I want to talk about some criticism people are having, mostly around Sabine. And so the criticism is that they're like, she's the worst Jedi ever. What do you guys think?
Before you get there, man, this is another reason I call this. I watched Rebels. I don't remember her being force sensitive in any way, shape, or form in the show. There was nothing about that. She had no force sensitivity, unless I missed it.
So that's a gripe of mine too, actually. It was never inferred or even hinted at that she had any kind of force sensitivity. There was, she had the dark saber at one point.
Right.
And Kanan showed her how to use it, right? He gave her skills. I don't know how she ended up losing it, but whatever. So she did have some training with a lightsaber. It was never that she could use the force. So I don't know what this show is inferring that she is or she is not. That kind of confuses me. I would hope that she isn't, because that's kind of a little much for me.
In a YouTube video, I saw it said that Sabine actually in the show does actually physically give it to what's her face.
Boca.
Okay.
Yeah.
She does give it to Bo-Katan. However, another fan, and once again, I'm not knowledgeable enough about the episodes. Like, I only watched like the last 2 episodes of that last season, so like maybe 1 or 2 other episodes of it. But somebody said that it was implied that discovered that she was force sensitive in the final season. However, you guys aren't the only ones who have heard said that's not true.
Yeah.
It must have been like
yeah.
I can't remember. It's been a few years, maybe it was there, but okay. Look, if they at least set it up, then I'm not going to complain too much. If it's somewhere, then I'm fine with that.
What I love is that Sabine is the perfect. The reason why it's cool that she's a screw up Jedi is she screwed up every other aspect of her life. She was a bad Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was a bad. She failed out of officers training school for the Empire.
Yes.
She's just a fuck up, and now she's a fuck up. She's a fuck up as a Jedi, and I think it works really well. I think it works with the
so she and I did see some of those gripes that you were talking about, and I did see the ones about her not being very skilled, like in martial arts. But I'm like, y'all were saying the opposite when we had Ray's whack ass. This is what she should have been. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, this is how it should go. You need to get your ass kicked. Y'all know. We train. You go in there, you get your ass knocked out, you get your arm wrenched for months and months and months until you finally start to understand how it works. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That white belt lunch.
You know what I mean?
That's what character growth is. They can't start off the man. They have to actually earn it. And I wonder if we're going to get training montages. I wonder if we're going to have time to train.
I hope so. That'd be dope.
Really quick, going off of Shaolin's point, man, but I got to point out the obvious hypocrisy for some of these folks, man. Some of y'all were screaming for Mando to be proficient with the Darksaber, but if you actually go watch Rebels, like, they touch on the fact that you can't just pick up a lightsaber, right? You can't just pick it up and start swinging it. I mean, unless you Finn, the coolest black man in the
right? Who was clearly force sensitive, and they did nothing with that. That was clearly the implication, right?
Sad.
But Mando sucked with it, and no one really had to we all enjoyed the ride. It's like, oh, it makes sense. He's not proficient enough to use it yet. There's an internal struggle. Then we found out that internal struggle was he's like, oh, I just got to give it to this chick.
Yeah.
Why train? Let me just give it over.
So you took the words out of my mouth. That was they, like everything in Mandalorian, a lot of great setups, and then the 3rd season just dropped the ball. Like, that would have been a great thing that he learned how to use it, and like he learned to compensate for the fact that it gets heavier throughout the fight, and learn these kind of techniques that would have opened the door for a lot of things, and they just did nothing with that.
So look, I gotta say real quick, going back to Sabine, when I looked at all the characters, that were coming back from Rebels, she was probably the one that I was like, I'm not really necessarily worried about her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she might be the one that I liked. I might like her even more than Ahsoka. And like when she first appeared, like she's riding on the bike, and the dudes, come to try to get her to come to the ceremony, and then the lady lands the ship, and then she slides under. I'm sitting there, I'm like, mommy? Mommy?
Yeah, that was the every nerd cream your pants right now. You're gonna crush on her.
I wasn't thinking too, but I instantly got attraction to this chick. Like, she is like it. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot wait to see where she ends up by the end of this.
I have to say, there is one thing, and this is literally my only real critique of it. It has to do with Sabine's character, and and obviously, guys, this is spoilers. We're already spoiling stuff. I am sick of new Star Wars having people driven down with a lightsaber. Like, a lightsaber goes through their body. A plasma stick that's like 9,000 degrees of heat, which should also melt your organs. And all the males or humans we've ever seen do it in the movies have died.
Right.
And for some reason, they're just like, I'm alive. Sabine's just like, oh, it was a day of rest and I'm better.
Oh my god, I agree completely, man. Yeah,
it's supposed to be the ultimate weapon in the galaxy, right? And so people can just get in Obi-Wan, that chick gets driven through and doesn't even seek medical attention. She's flying around other planets with a hole in herself.
That shit went through her spine in Obi-Wan. Let's be clear.
Yeah, that was.
So, here's my thing. I've never done any weapons training. No katanas, no butterfly blades, anything like that. But here's one thing I do know, right? Most people, when they're at that level of violence, are going to stab you and then twist, right? So I assume that the lightsaber version of that would be to stab and then lift up, right? Like, lift that shit up. Why didn't she fucking put her down? That, which is you were gonna break down the fight scene, because this is what I really want to talk to you brothers about. Please get to her proficiency with the blade. I want to talk to you guys about this shit, man.
I will say real quickly that, like, it should have been, in terms of the writer's room thought process, it shouldn't have been cut through her body. It should have been a slash or something.
Yeah,
right.
I
would have been fine with it. Anakin survived a couple slashes on his arm when he fought Dooku.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
But it should not have been the blade. They had the blade. They literally dramatically show the blade go totally through her.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so just to throw that away, the next episode, I'm like, oh, brother, this again. And then, of course, a lot of, the usual suspects on YouTube are like saying that they're like, her feminist powers allowed her to survive. Feminist witchcraft.
Here we go. This show ain't even like that. They're not even like pushing any. I can't stand people like that. But nah, the minute that got driven through her like body, like her inside, she was just boiled completely.
Yeah,
it's way too hot for that to go inside. But going on like her like technique, I thought it was perfect the way it was realized. She should have got roughed up the way she did. That was perfect.
Right.
Like we don't fully know, like, Balin and Shin's story. I mean, we got like hints and stuff like that, but we don't really know. But it's clear he was a Jedi, trained Jedi in the Jedi Temple. He took her on as like an apprentice, so she's like formally trained. So Sabine should be getting her ass lit up the way she did, completely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was done perfectly. I have no complaints with that. That was great.
Right.
It was very much like a samurai flick. Did you notice that when she stepped at the Padawan and the Padawan didn't move? I was like, oh, don't inch towards it. You've already given up too much ground coming towards you.
And what I find interesting is that toward the end of episode 2, Balin is like, it would be a shame to kill her, and she's like, oh, you're sympathetic toward her, and he's like, there are so few of us Jedi left.
Right.
And so you see he still has feelings for his order and his people who were like him.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, so once again, the mystery of their lightsabers has not been revealed, right?
Yeah, like they're not even red. They're like orange, right?
And so the question is, I wonder if they are partially bled. Is that you think they're they're not fully on the dark side, but they're like, we're on the way to being on the dark side?
That seems to be the only thing that makes sense to me.
And so I think it might be he might get redemption at some point, because it sounds like there's at least a pathway to his character feeling bad and sparing somebody,
right?
But I love those lightsabers. I love the orange lightsabers.
Hell yeah!
That whole scene with Sabine in the Padawan fighting. Actually, I just got to talk about the cinematography. Something that's been lacking in some Star Wars shows. It's just like it's not really there. But that whole scene was laid out really dope. It was another great scene in this episode, man. People using the Force to wield their lightsabers.
Yeah.
Dirty word. I mean, maybe it was unnecessary, but Ahsoka cutting a hole in the ground the way that she did, I was just like,
that was
dope.
That was super dope. That was really fun.
More people need to do that kind of thing. There was a Jedi from like the old Republic games. It was like a chick named Darth Treya. She had like 3 lightsabers.
Yeah, and she would just use the Force. She wouldn't even use her hands.
Like we need to see more of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's creative. It makes sense. I wouldn't even have to pick mine up. I just have it fly around me and chop things up. Why would I even need to touch it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was very creative for sure.
But using the Force on your lightsaber, I gotta say, which reminds me of what my favorite action scene of the 2 episodes is Ahsoka versus, I think his name is Merrick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love it when he throws it. Like later on, it's coming back and she just turns, she like moves, and it goes by her. Dude, that was like that was a good fight. That was a good fight. And when they're locked, And then she uses the force push while they're locked, and he pushes back. Like he's gonna be a cool villain to have to deal with.
He's the perfect
third chair villain.
Yeah, yes, third chair villain.
Yeah,
villain.
He doesn't get a story, but he gets to be a badass.
Yeah, I just gotta tell you, man, you guys, we're talking about force wielding the lightsabers. One of the parts I got stuck on Survivor is against the spoiler alert. The guy that you find in the back of the tube is a Jedi from the High Republic, and he's got some issues with the Jedi Order. Yeah. But when you fight him the first time, this motherfucker is using the lightsaber in ways I've never seen before in my life. Like it's literally flying around the screen. But I thought that scene was dope.
We need more of that, man. We need more of that. You know who Balin reminds me of, and I love this dude from Fallen Order from the first game. You remember Terran Malicos, the dude that was on Dathomir?
Yes.
So if you don't know, this guy Terran Malicos, he almost looks like Balin. He's older white dude with beard, English accent. Yeah. But he survived Order 66. And he got shot down by his own clone troopers. He landed on Dathomir. Dathomir is it's like a dark side oriented planet, right? So like the more you're there, the more it just influences you. So he falls to the dark side. And you encounter him and you end up fighting this dude. Yeah. And like he gives me that vibe, you know what I mean? And he uses lightsabers creatively too. Like he'd hit you and he'd send one flying away and then it would like come and hit you in the back of the head and keep flying. Like we need more of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like that's original, that's creative. We don't always have to have the one-on-one traditional samurai duels. Let's get real with it. But we did see some of that with her fight with whatever.
Merrick. I will say I like it all. I like they should make every fight original, but I will say I do like that they return to the samurai duels. I like the idea of them having samurai duels.
Yeah.
So here's another thing I called you brothers for. I'm glad you brought it up, Shaolin. Dathomir. My understanding is that the powers that the Night Sisters, I know they come from the now decanonized legend stories, right? Mm-hmm. But my understanding is that their power is exclusive to the planet. Like they can only wield that magic because they're on the planet. And first I saw the game Jedi Fallen Order, and then heavily in Survivor, there's a Night Sister in there. And bro, she's friggin' OP. Like the way she uses her power. She's OP. Yeah, like she's super OP. Right. But the sister, the woman who's in there that plays the Dathomir Survivor is what's this guy's name? Legendary kung fu flick maker
Dan Santo.
Dan Santo's daughter. And but she clearly has Night Sister powers. So I guess Star Wars is embracing new canon type shit. They're like, no, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I think their unique abilities are on Dathomir, but on every other planet, they still have normal Force user. Yeah. Asajj Ventress. Oh, I guess you didn't watch Clone Wars. Asajj Ventress, who was Dooku's secret apprentice, she was originally a Night Sister, and then he adopted her and took her in. So, I mean, she has some Force powers, but that's an interesting spot of who she is because that means she's going to have some killer fight scenes.
Let me tell you something. I love the fact that she is a Night Sister. That was one of my favorite parts of this entire thing. They didn't mention it at all when we saw her in The Mandalorian like a few years ago. But the fact that she is now, like I dig it. And like the Night Sisters, they wield the dark side, right? They just like use it in a different way than like the Sith do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Palpatine actually, another deep cut. He was actually very terrified of the Night Sisters. He did not like them at all.
Right.
He sent General Grievous there to like wipe them out.
And they wiped them out.
They were like rivals, you know what I mean?
It was messed up because originally he had an alliance with them.
Right.
That he's like, you stay in your hood, I stay in mine, and we don't fuck with each other. And then after a while, I was like, fuck it, kill them.
Well, he was learning from their queen. Their original arrangement was that he was going to learn to use the magic the way that she did. And then even more fucked up, that's Darth Maul's mom, and she gave him to Sidious. Some like weird, lecherous old man in a black cape.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I loved it when you find that out in the Clone Wars. You're like, wow, these people are fucked up.
So let me ask you guys a question, man. Her being a Night Sister is dope, but what do you think so far with the story that we got?
So this is interesting because they people are wondering if they're going to mess with canon or where they're headed with this because they're almost implying that the Force and the origins of the Force come from a different galaxy.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another alien race, and who knows if we're going to be talking about the Rakata or not, right? But like, it has potential. But I'm super fascinated. I can't wait to find out what the other galaxy looks like or what these creatures are.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
Yeah. I also like that the villains, it's funny that the villains are made up of various different Darksiders, right? So you have an Inquisitor, you have 2 fallen Jedi, you have a Night Sister.
It is so not by the book, man.
It's not by the book.
To figure out what's gonna happen. It's just so damn good. Like something good.
Yes, because the book is not Star Wars book, but I mean in general, the book gets old after a while. You got to mix it up.
Absolutely, man. I can't tell you where they're gonna go. The whole thing with Ezra, as you know, is just some off the wall with the space whales.
The space whales and space octopus, right? The tentacle things.
Yeah, it's just I have no idea where they're gonna go with this, man. But I'm excited to see where they're gonna go.
I'm starting to wonder if Ezra's even going to be in it. Like, did they hire that actor for that one little scene where he's in the video?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
So, what do you guys think of, both being Rebels fans, what did you think of the pilot chick?
Homeboy's love interest that mother birthed this child. I thought she was actually really good. That's that one actress, man. She always plays like a Billy badass. What's her freaking name, bro?
All I know is that she played Gwen Grayson in Sky High, and she played
Mary. She was a Scott Pilgrim. She was Ramona Flowers.
Yes.
That's where I know her from.
She's got a long history of being in like nerd movies, being the hot girl in nerd movies, and now she's this. What did you guys think of her?
I love her. She's great. It's really hard for me to not love her and stuff she's in. I mean, except Birds of Prey. I mean, it's hard to love anybody in that piece of shit.
So I wonder. This is the weirdest part about it. I wonder if they're going to reveal or have any scenes with her son, who's only seen for a brief moment, which I gotta say doesn't make sense. You're an alien with green skin. You have a child with a human, white guy, brown hair. Your child is white with green hair. What is going on there?
I didn't even know you could reproduce with a different species like that. Like I had no idea.
I don't think that's canon either. That doesn't sound like that's really feasible.
I didn't know they had the same
Let
parts.
Love win. Let love win, guys. You hate
it is 2023. Let me stop.
Yeah, love is love. There's every variation works, but the problem is that people aren't following science, and the science is that not all these combinations can bear children.
Hey, look. Prediction. I fully believe we're going to get Kanan. I don't know if we'll actually see him. We might just hear his voice, but I 100% believe we're going to get some live action.
Maybe a ghost? You think like a ghost? Do you think it's Force Ghost?
He's like two-way light, just for him to not show up. They're going to do it somehow. I don't maybe give him
I certainly like him better than Ezra.
Everyone did. Everyone did.
Ezra he's a hard pill pause to swallow at certain points during that show, man. But Kanan, you know what they did reference? They had the 2 wolves. I don't know if you caught that on the portrait. So that was a real deep lore thing there. I like her, man. I agree with Shalyn. I hope they bring Kanan in some type of way, shape, or form, man. And I hope the kid shows up. And I really do hope that this finally, like having that character, the pilot, the Twilight, the horrors of Star Wars, obviously.
The sexy race.
Yeah.
So I think the mistake they made with Mando was he was the vehicle to build this shit. He was the Iron Man to build out this new universe.
Yeah.
And I hope with Ahsoka they continue to do this, but they skip the Thor phase. You see where I'm going with this, gentlemen? I hope they jump right into Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Boba Fett is the Thor face. So.
You want to know something? I completely forgot that show happened. That's how minuscule that show's impact was. I forgot it even happened to you.
I was reading an article, and articles like, surprisingly, people like Ahsoka because Disney Plus has a bad track record for the shows. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're all good. And I was thinking they're all good, and and then they started listing them, and I was like, oh, I forgot about Obi-Wan. Oh, I forgot about Boba Fett. Oh, I forgot about Mandalorian season 3. Like I had blocked them out. We have to talk about her, Puerto Rican Ahsoka.
Oh,
and it's not about her race. It's that I just here's my mind canon, and tell me if I'm right.
Yeah.
We watched Ahsoka in Clone Wars go from a young girl to like a teenager, and she matures.
Yep.
Right.
Then her heart is broken when the Jedi Order kicks her out.
Right.
And so she becomes a stoic. All those emotions she used to have, she packs away.
Right.
And now she's not a jubilant child anymore. Because she used to be wisecracking. She used to be into shenanigans, all sorts of stuff.
I thought the same thing.
This woman is not
Yep.
the Ahsoka I know from Clone Wars. That's all I gotta say. But the argument could be like, people are like, it's been 30 years.
So
change.
So here's my thing about that. I thought the same thing, and it did kind of bother me initially how like stoic and like I don't want to say introverted, but just how like kind of quiet she is. You know what I mean? But then Rosario Dawson, like the way she acts it out, it's okay. It's not like boring. It's not like prequel acting. It's not like the prequels acting. You know what I mean? Like she's still acting well, and even though she's stoic, she still has personality. So it works for me. Like she'll occasionally flash a sarcastic grin, flare an eyebrow, in a playful way, and it works for me.
Okay.
So I really don't have any problems with that. It does strike me as someone going from, like 10 to 15 to 20 to like 45 to 50, however old she is now. It does strike me as like growing up some. So I get it. She's been through a lot.
Yeah, she was a bit more hardened, and surprisingly enough, in Rebels, man, when you find out that she's Fulcrum, and then you really get the premiere, like you don't see her soften in that show really until she comes face to face with Darth Vader. I'm gonna say something. And I know I'm putting myself out there publicly, right? It's no lie that I have a bias for Rosario Dawson. This is not a secret thing.
You've never publicly spoken,
and I won't.
Okay.
and I won't.
No, I think that's smart.
But I will say this: if any of the people that we share in common are listening, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. This is the best acting Rosario Dawson has done across the breadth of her career.
And I'm gonna second that though. I'm got my boys back.
Wait, hold on. Y'all don't remember her in Daredevil? Y'all weren't a fan of her in Daredevil?
She was great on the show Daredevil.
Wait,
she was great.
Would you say great or just there?
She was there, but she also added something. She added something to it, and then the cameos she made later on. Let's not forget how she got her start, man. The first time a lot of us were exposed to her was in that movie that cannot be named, that starts with a K, ends with an S, right?
Right.
And her legendary scene talking about certain things that our parents did not want us to know about as kids, right?
Right.
But then she, another big role for her was obviously in Men in Black, and then she was in Alexander, right? Yeah. She was in The Rundown with The Rock, where people gave her a lot of shit for her Portuguese accent, right? I'm not saying that this is a jab. I'm saying that this is probably the role that she was meant to play, man. Because literally, when she came on as Ahsoka the first time in The Mandalorian, I was like, wow, she's really killing it right now. That scene with her and Grogu are having like that telepathic
I do agree. I like that. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think now I know that somewhere in the deep, dark parts of the internet, there's someone that's upset that Ahsoka went from white sounding to not white sounding. Any thoughts on that?
So here's it. Ahsoka is, and this is what I understand what coding is when people are like, they're gay coded, they're black coded. Like did you guys see the new Ninja Turtles?
No, I haven't seen it.
No, I have not yet.
And so people are saying this, and I don't know. I guess I haven't seen it yet. So people are saying the movie is black coded, but all the actors are white. Right? But it's very hip hop friendly. It's super hip hop friendly, and they're like it's a misplace. So the question is: are characters who are not human, are they actually coded, or is this in our imaginations?
Look here, man. We've had this conversation before, but I'm gonna lay it out right now. Okay. First of all, before I do that, let me touch on Ahsoka real quick. So the chick that voices her is like a very petite, very cute blonde white girl, and there's no way in hell that girl's gonna be able to play no Ahsoka. Let's get that right.
I mean, I feel that. I'm not angry about that.
You know, like, so Rosario Dawson, in my opinion, is the perfect aged up Ahsoka. Now, we talking about you know, characters, you know, coded based on race. Hey, yo, what's up, Vic?
What up, Vic?
Yo, based on race. I mean, look, we already know, man. You know, we got Knuckles. I mean, the man has dreadlocks and he wears J's. He wears J's, man. Piccolo.
You took it right out.
Like, yo, like characters, like, they just have a black soul.
Honestly, personally, I honestly think Raphael should have a black actor because he should.
But let me ask you a question. I'm speaking the truth. 100%. Wait, were you that bummed out back in the day as a kid when Raphael turned out to be a guy from Bensonhurst? Remember, he's like, a cricket? You got to know how to play cricket.
To know what a cricket is. Jose Canseco back? Tell me you didn't pay money for this.
No. The real thing they need to do is get a black actor to play him. Straight up.
I do agree Raphael is a black ass man, you know. 100%. Yo, all of them I feel like are black. The Turtles feel like, you know,
especially Donatello.
Yo, their sewers are located under the burnt, like,
they're under Harlan, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, they're under like Bed-Stuy or some shit. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
wait, hold on. I agree with every one of them, except do you even believe Michelangelo should be? Surfer dude?
He's the blackest one out of them. Yo, that surfer stuff is like 80s. Michelangelo is every class clown, black dude you've ever seen that's in the anime. You know what I mean? He's black, all right?
Okay.
You know,
I believe you.
And then Donnie is like your Steve Urkel neighbor, you know what I mean? Wearing the thick-ass bifocals. And you got
Leo. He's a black nerd. He's a nerd.
And
he's Leo, a blurred. He's a blurred 100%.
And Leo, an overachiever, you know, kiss-ass kid, right. You know what I mean? You know, like, here you go.
Yeah. Yo, let me ask you guys a question, man. Do you think that Rosario Dawson has the physicality? So this is my huge complaint about the sister from Obi-Wan. Wasn't the fact that she was black. Actually, I thought she killed it in rewatching it in certain scenes. I was like, she's the perfect low-level, annoying villain. You know, SS type villain. Like, we know you are hiding the survivors here. Like, she had that vibe to her. But what she really lacked, no part of me thought, even though I know that Palpatine's little crew of fake Sith, they're, you know, the Inquisitors, they're supposed to be low-ranking fighters, right? But she didn't have the physicality. Like, I didn't believe she could jump across those buildings. Like,
no way.
Now, do you guys think that Rosario Dawson has the acting chops to pull off the physicality of Ahsoka?
100%. She's very natural.
She's doing fine. I think she's doing
very natural. Yo, the way she's like, she holds her guard with those sabers. It doesn't look like it's like taught. Like, her form looks immaculate, man.
Right.
Like, I believe it every time she draws those lightsabers and she holds them both up. I'm like, yo, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I think she's doing good. There's no point that I look at it and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Even though the internet is doing that, but it's the usual suspects. It's the haters who don't like that a minority is playing Ahsoka.
Yo, go ahead.
But wait, what we didn't address is, so how do we feel about the fact that she was once played by a white chick and then grew up to be a Puerto Rican?
Yo, so here's the thing about it, right? Rosario Dawson would be considered a New Yorican. You know what I'm saying? So, like, her attachment to the island of Puerto Rico is very, very. That's not my conversation to have. Let me use the terminology of the folks nowadays. I have no problem with it because, in actuality, she's a fucking alien, right? And the character, the person who had the voice for her, just happened to be white. I don't give a fuck about this shit, right? If she was white and they changed her, then I'd be like, this is an issue. But the fact that she's an alien and all of her people have an orange tint, right? They might be living on a different level of understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think she did good. And I think it helps, too, that we don't really know her from playing the strong Boricua character, do we? Like, short of the first film, there's no... Even in that one, like, her accent in that was very, very... in my opinion, forced. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She doesn't have a strong New York accent. So I wasn't taken out by this. I agree with what Shaolin said, man. She's been through some things, and the aged look of her was what I focused on more. At a certain point, I forgot that it was Rosario Dawson. I'm like, this is the character whose master turned his back on her, sided with the council for a little while, turned into the devil.
Yeah.
Like, potentially killed her, and then she got pulled into the space in between the yellow room, right? And then she got resurrected. I'm with it, man.
I'll say this: that actually, remember, I don't know if you remember the day her first appearance, live action first appearance happened, because we in Fanboy were going to talk about it in our pre-talk before the episode. I was a hater.
Yeah, I remember.
I was and you know what the problem was? Is I just kept seeing her as Rosario Dawson.
Oh, okay.
And then later on, after talking to Steve, I was like, you know what? Let me think about it. And I decided to just phase that out of my mind. I was like, she's not the chick from Clerks.
Yeah,
right? And then when I did, I appreciated it. And so now you're saying this, and what's funny is in both these episodes, I have not thought of her as Rosario Dawson.
That's right.
I've thought of her as stoic Ahsoka.
Hey, yo, this is, has nothing to do with anything. It's my curiosity. I had no idea she was Puerto Rican. Is she like Afro-Latina or is she just Puerto Rican?
So she's actually mixed. I believe, if I remember correctly, y'all carry it for a second. I can get it for you right now. Just hold on one second.
You know what I'm not looking forward to coming back? And this is, once again, a part of... There are certain things in Rebels that are just so childish I can't stand.
Yeah.
One of mine was I couldn't stand when they used the lightsabers to gain lift.
I'll try not to think
like helicopters. Yeah, and I hope I never see that on the screen. Yeah. But another thing, I didn't like Ezra's premise that he had a lightsaber that was also a gun. That is the most ignorant Jedi weapon.
Yeah, and it's shot little circular plasma balls. Real quick, early life. Rosario Dawson was born. We don't even know all that shit. She's Puerto Rican, Taino, Taino is the native people that lived in Puerto Rico before the slave ship showed up. Cuban and African ancestry. So,
okay.
So yes, to answer your question, I don't know if she qualifies herself as Afro Latino, but I know she dates a lot of brothers. So yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, that's all I need to know, baby. That's all I need to know.
So that's so funny. But yeah, I am not looking to that blaster lightsaber. I hope never comes back.
And you want to know something though? It's funny because here's what I like. They took that criticism and they fixed it, because if you look at like the time skip when he aged up, they got rid of that blaster. They gave him a whole different color.
Oh, thank God!
He grew up, like he matured. He wasn't annoying anymore. Yeah.
They cut his hair. Because I don't think a Jedi Master would let that fly. It's just like,
you got a gun, bro? What's wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? Yeah, because they thought of guns as violent, ignorant weapons.
Yeah,
and.
You remember that quote from Obi-Wan when he picks it up? Oh, how uncivilized. He throws it away. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But here's the thing though, man. In your beloved Legends though, Luke was the one that said in the New Order, he's like, yeah, you know what? Get a blaster.
He let them carry They didn't wear robes. They wore leather jackets and shit. They were like that.
This is why everyone was so mad about what they did to him. Because Luke Skywalker was like the cool teacher.
He was the cool guy.
After they fired him, like, yo, you wanna have sex, have kids? Yo, have 8, 6, 7, 8. Yo, you want to use blasters? Yo, you want to use dark side powers? Yo, do your thing. Like he was the man. You know what I mean?
So check this out. Yeah, the marriage thing. We got to talk the marriage thing. So one of my favorite characters. I have many favorite extended universe characters, but one of my favorites is Mara Jade.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, great character.
And so she was a Darksider, Imperial, assassin, Emperor's assassin, like Emperor's Hand, which is an assassin. For she was a sensitive assassin that Luke eventually meets, and he's just like, from the power of the D, he's able to tame her and turn her to the light. Right? So
the power of the D.
You know how it is when you have to tame them. So one of the things that I find funny is that although at first my original prediction, which is already wrong from these 2 episodes, is I thought that this was, because everyone had rumored that this was going to be a ripoff of Heir to the Empire. Right. And I thought that Balin was going to be a ripoff of Jor Sabaoth. and Shin was going to be a ripoff of Mara Jade.
Okay.
This is not. At least on his front, he's definitely a very different character than Jorah Sabaoth.
Right.
But so I still think she could end up being the Mara Jade that Luke ends up.
Oh.
Why would any of that matter?
The time does match up.
It matches up,
Time, yeah.
And so if she comes back to the light side, Luke could hit it.
I'm not mad.
Luke could hit it, and then they could finally retcon that entire thing. Like that would be the greatest. Just hear me out.
Here's what I want. I don't want a retcon because I hate retcons, but what I would love for them to do is to fill those 30 years between the end of Return and the start of Force Awakens with endless adventures and cool shit.
Yeah.
So we can ignore the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that either.
That'd be great.
You guys are purists, man, and I got two purists up here, man. You said something in our private chat in regards to this feeling like actual Star Wars, right? How happy are you two guys to have a Star Wars? I'm not going to count Obi-Wan in this. It just doesn't count. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Actual lightsaber Jedi play. That is the one thing that was. I love Mandalorian, man, but it was just missing. I was always acutely aware that I was watching something that was expanding the universe. Yeah. Now I feel like the universe has been expanded and it's being zeroed in. Like, hey, these are events that you need to pay attention to, and that's what I got from this entire episode. Like, if Thrawn is supposed to be their Thanos level, and he just can't be. You can't have Palpatine and this guy, and they both be the threat. But if he's going to be their big bad to tie everything together, I feel like we're getting back on course with some Star Wars shit here, man.
I agree.
Like, yeah, I'm glad the Mandalorians reclaimed their planet, but there's such a small portion of this story. And then I have another one. This is the second part of the question. We all keep thinking that Grogu is going to be the Mandalorian Jedi tie-in. Apparently, they said, fuck that shit, and it's this chick. Because now she's force sensitive. She like
you know what fuck that, it's Grogu for life. Grogu 2024, you know what I'm saying? Grogu for life. Yo, I love Sabine, don't get me wrong, I love Sabine, but no.
So a couple things to answer the question. I did like, I told you earlier, she's kind of my favorite so far that, in the show, these 2 episodes we got. I do love, her like little suit up at the end of the second episode. She cuts her hair and, like she does a little ceremony and she has her Mandalorian armor back on. I did appreciate that.
I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah. I'm not a Sabine hater.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying Grogu is way better than her.
Oh yeah. But look, this is the only time you're gonna hear me say this, all right? But Obi-Wan Kenobi did bring the fire in one area, okay? And that area was Darth Vader, all right? They turned him into a black beast from the abyss. When he pulled that shit down, when they were trying to run from him, he ripped that shit open. And look, when he fought Reva, look, that man had smoke for days, my God.
Oh, you talking about Survivor?
Broke it in half and threw it a second piece like, let's go. Smoke, man. That man wanted all the flames, okay?
The problem I have is they make him the most fucking incompetent villain that ever lived. So when he first met Reva, she's a little girl and he's unable to kill a little girl with the greatest weapon in the galaxy. He drives her through. She lives, right? Then so she joins his order and he's like, I'm going to pretend I don't know who you are. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm waiting for you to betray me or whatever. And then he does it again.
Yeah.
And she lives again. And so that's why Obi-Wan, I cannot get down with that series. It's just nonsense across the board.
That's why you got to play Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, because the Darth Vader that shows up and kills the homegirl, the Inquisitor,
third sister or whatever.
Yeah, bro. When I didn't know Darth Vader could jump. Like, he jumped off that lift, and I was like, "Holy shit, his legs work!"
Yeah.
And when he shows up in Survivor, he's like the fucking Juggernaut, bro. He's literally like.
Honestly, what I really want for Christmas is a version of Star Wars: A New Hope, where they take out the Obi-Wan and Vader original fight and they put in that one that special effects company
what
made.
you're talking about.
Because that's the Vader we need to see.
Yeah.
He's cutting open walls and stuff, doing crazy stuff.
The new era has done decently well by Darth Vader. He always struck me as like Jason or Michael Myers.
Right.
You can just run from his ass. He'll just walk and he'll still get you. You know, I think about Rogue One at the very end. I'll never forget how the theater went insane.
It's like one of the greatest scenes ever. And I'll say one of the problems with New Hope, I'll say, is that the truth is they didn't know, like Lucas didn't even know who or what Vader was.
Yeah.
And so he's like, because he's like for instance, in New Hope, you'll see that Grand Moff Tarkin is bossing him around like he's a bitch. Yep. And later on in the films, they're like, no, there's the Emperor and there's Vader. I'm like, well, what was Grand Moff Tarkin? And then, like, another thing is he tortures his own daughter, and somehow he didn't know. He has psychic powers. He doesn't know that's his daughter. Yeah. So they didn't really know what they were doing with him in the first thing. But, of course, he grew to be the legend.
Yep.
But that scene in Rogue, man,
legendary, man.
I'm going to gross you all out right now, but... got really hard every time I see it. I'm really
That's why I'm surprised you haven't played fucking Fallen Order, bro. When he shows up to kill Seer,
it was the same.
Bro, I thought he was force gripping her at first, when I realized she's literally paralyzed with fear.
Right.
Because he came out of that fucking platform and you hear him before you see him, bro.
And you try to run from him and he just kills you. Can't fight him. Like you try to fight him and he just dies. You gotta run. You can't do nothing to that man. You gotta run. You know? That's Vader in my opinion.
No, because my problem is I've only recently decided to come back to the world of video games. Before I just didn't have the time. Right. And I've said to you, unless I'm dragged to the theater, even when I watch TV, it's while I'm doing some other job.
Yep. Same.
Like I'm working and I have my second screen with my TV on. Yeah. And it's only when something catches me. Like for instance, the amazing art design for this series, and I'm like, you know what? I need to give this all my attention because this is really dope.
I mean, everything just looks good, man. The ships, the characters, the scenes, it's just good.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm really excited to be excited about a Star Wars property again.
Amen.
So let's go through the obvious responses. I have not watched anything, but Mantis, I'm sure you're going to bring me up to speed. I'm going to ask them one by one. You tell me what they know, if they said anything, man. Star Wars theory, his thoughts. You know anything yet?
Oh.
What about you, Shaolin?
I don't. But I know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow because I am curious to see what a lot of people are saying about this.
Yes.
I just watched it and literally all my discussion has been with YouTube today.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Go ahead.
So this dude makes me so angry. I love him. I love the dude. I respect him and his journey, his life's journey is inspirational. But Nerdronic is such a hater, and so I tuned into his review.
Right.
And he's just trashing every aspect. He's like one of those guys who's and you know what it is? It's because they're mad at Disney because Disney is following their politics, and so they need to trash it. And I had to turn it off. I got so angry. I was like, "Fuck you, bro." Yeah. So
what's the other one's name that hangs out with Star Wars?
Star Wars Girl. I saw Star Wars Girls.
Oh Lord, what did she say?
What did your ex-girlfriend say?
My future ex-wife said that she felt that the script was written by an AI. It was boring. It was tired. She said it was too much talking.
Okay, here we go.
What is she, 12?
What is she? Yeah, like what?
Most of the original trilogy is dialogue, and it's bad dialogue, bro.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh man,
that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. What it is, here's the problem with Conservatube. Conservatube is just filled with people with political agendas, and they might. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them don't even watch this stuff.
Yeah,
they're quick to talk about it. They're absolutely quick to talk about it. And so, one of the best reviewers, in my opinion, that I actually follow, Jeremy Johns, but he doesn't do television shows. He only does
do like
movies.
that guy a lot.
But he is the most real guy, and you can tell there's no politics, there's no nothing. He doesn't have an agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I need to find someone without agenda. So Grace Randolph has a horrible fucking agenda. Nerdrotic has a fucking agenda. All these people fucking have some reason to be a prick or not a prick.
It is actually really hard to find like an unbiased like reviewer. I was watching that dude Angry Joe for a little while. Like he had like branched off into like reviewing movies and shit. But like they are just so negative all the time. They nitpick every single thing. If it's the smallest thing, they just pick on it. And people like Jeremy Johns, that's more my speed. You know what I mean?
Right. Because he literally has his rating system is literally whether you need alcohol to enjoy it or no alcohol required. And those are his two ratings.
Wait, is Jeremy Johns the guy with the long black hair?
Yeah, long black hair, red background. And he's a leather jacket, and he's just like talking. He's just like, well, and
he always seems like he's 2 bumps in. Whenever I watch this,
he's totally
he might be.
Absolutely, he is. Man.
He might be.
Oh wait, so no one's heard anything yet from the high exalted Grace Randolph then yet?
Should we watch it right now together?
Let's do it. And also, I want to take a shot at Star Wars Girl on behalf of Shaolin. Fuck what she's talking about. For all her conservative ideology, you've been relegated to a fucking calendar girl. You had a promising career in YouTube. I used to really enjoy her takes and still do, but give me a break with the I'm being shadow banned bullshit. Get a Discord.
So I haven't kept up with her or Gray. I haven't seen either one of them in a very long time. I'm talking months. So I don't know what's going on with Grace. I can't tolerate her ass anymore. So I just don't even.
Yeah, she pisses me off on a regular fucking basis.
Right? And you all know how I feel about that Star Wars girl. So
See, I think Star Wars Girl is a lovable menace. You know what I mean? But
of course you're gonna subject me and Shaolin to that wedding light. So you're both not coming. You're both not coming.
So I'm gonna knock on your door the day of it. You're like, yeah, and you're doing the best man stuff, and I'm like, Steve, she wants you to change your tie. She's not gonna walk the floor unless you change your tie. She just doesn't like it.
She just strikes me as that type who knows what her audience likes to hear.
Yeah.
And she just goes like extra hard. Yeah. She's like the Lauren Boebert of YouTube. You know that?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and that's the same with Nerdrotic. I feel like his hating is not genuine. What it is that he knows that he has gained a really conservative group of followers, and he's just like, you know what? We have to hate on Disney because Disney likes trans people.
He just goes extra hard because that's what her people want to hear.
And I can't even go to Campia because I got to be honest with you guys. I've abstained from John Campia since the firing of the other guy.
Oh, really? I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I used to tune into Campia for my non-biased, the non-biased opinion. But ever since you got rid of Rob, man, I have not been back. Rob, it's amazing what he brought to that show, man. Rob was seriously like that. He's that cool guy, that works in the industry, get your tickets every once in a while. He's a prep one day, he's a writer, an engineer the next day on the film.
And then somehow Campia argues that he's like, he wasn't really working for me. I'm like, he's on every fucking episode. How is he not working for you? He's like, he's just a dude who hung out and he was chill, so it wasn't really firing. I just told him to stop hanging out. Like, yo, that dude's in a lot of segments. You're telling me you're not throwing him bones? Yo,
bro, if anyone who has a YouTube network, Adam22 is famous for this, starts off with saying, listen, so it was never supposed to be permanent. I'm like, if you don't miss me with that bullshit.
Oh my, it was never supposed to be permanent. Oh god. Yo, oh god, this is totally off Ahsoka. We probably should get into it. But you heard what Adam22 did recently, right?
Oh Lord, tell me.
What do you do?
Tell me.
Okay, real quick, guys. We're taking a quick break from Ahsoka for a hot second. We're not going to play any videos on it because it's not the main topic of this special. But so he offered Pearly Things $1 million to do a video with him and Lena the Plug.
Yes.
And so I watched her video today where she was like basically telling him to go fuck himself. Obviously she's like, because it pays off for her anyway. She's gonna get all these clicks from that,
right?
But
she'd probably make the bag doing that, man. How many red pill closet motherfuckers are like waiting to see her get
also she's gonna get a lot of clicks, but is she gonna get $1 million worth of clicks? I don't know about that.
Why her? Why her?
Because Adam 22 understands why people go on the hub, why they would skip the page 10 of the hub as opposed to sticking on the first thing that comes up, or why you even search on the hub. He understands that there's a niche, and maybe bigger than we think, audience that wants to see Pearl, because that's what all this red pill fanfare for her was. You guys will never ever fool me. Some of you might have genuinely thought she contributed something to the conversation. I know what it really was. You motherfuckers want to see this chick get railed, and you're hoping that you're the simp that she's gonna levitate out of her chat.
Yo, I stopped. I used to like her, but remember, I quickly was like, fuck this.
I'm not talking about you.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, no, Anthony Brian Logan is always on that shit. He's like, I don't know why you want to hang out, why you want to sit for this girl. She's not even good looking. Like he'll say it straight up. Like,
I wouldn't call her ugly, but like she's average. You know what I mean? Like she's just like. Any plain Jane that would just walk by you on Main Street, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
She's average at best. Shout out to the legend.
Oh, the OG. Big Kev.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Hey, side note, I said Big Kev, but I don't sanction his buffoonery. I'm just saying. I appreciate some things from Red Pill, but I'm not a Red Pillar. I'm just
no. I could never jump into that shit, man. It's like, yo, I heard someone roast Fresh and Fit appropriately, man. It was just like, it just seems like a bunch of angry dudes hanging out together. Like, just
mad at girls and kicking them out of their apartment. That's all.
Yeah, I don't want to show up anywhere where. Never mind. I almost went too far.
Oh God! Look at her face.
Look at her.
I just had a feeling in my gut when that just came up on my screen right now. Oh,
see, that's what I'm saying. And you know, here's the thing. I had already seen in the trailers that she was going to cut her hair and wear her Mandalorian crazy armor or whatever, spray paint armor. And so, like, I knew that she wasn't finished, but at the time, it was like, why did you go there? It doesn't have to be this extreme.
Yeah.
You could have had her. You could have had her slashed or some shit.
Look at that lunge, though. That's an appropriate lunge right there. That is a perfect form.
And yeah, it is. But look here. Is that the like cover of her actual video? Is what's on there right now?
No, this isn't the cover of the video. She always has like she pays someone to do
okay,
her
I was about to say because that is spoilery as hell, and I can't stand when people do that.
Oh, yeah, she definitely does do covers that are spoily, but this is not the cover.
I have unsubscribed from people for that reason.
Oh my god. Yo, the funniest one was I had major beef with fucking, and this is from Mandalorian. Heavy spoilers. Because he does his Mandalorian trailer the first thing in the morning, so I'm getting ready for work, and I turn it on, and I'm like, and right there on the cover, he had the big alien dude from Rebels. What's his name?
The guy that played the villain in Highlander.
Zeb.
Zeb. Yeah. He has a picture of Zeb there, in the Mandalorian, and I was like,
hate.
And so I sent him a thing on Twitter. I was like, yo, bro, why are you spoiling it? And he says, duh, my name is Heavy Spoilers.
Yes. That's kind of true.
He won that round. He absolutely won that round. So let's see what this psychopath. Look at her fucking mouth. Jesus Christ, close that thing.
Again, I almost went too far, man. I'm like, again, I think Grace has the same type of audience as Pearly. A bunch of simps sitting in there waiting for her to elevate them from chat
you're absolutely right.
into her bedroom.
They're hoping that one day they might get a chance with this phobia-laden psycho.
And let me tell you guys something, man. Obviously y'all, not y'all, but I'm talking about to those simps, man. Y'all don't pay enough attention to women and how posting and pictures and angles. There's a reason why you never see the bottom half of her. Sure, you would say, how is that relevant to her show? But if you scour the internet, you never see the bottom of her.
Yo,
two pictures on the internet.
Look here.
I've seen them. I've seen her bottom pictures
in person. In person.
No, not in person. On the internet. Don't spread rumors, bro.
Hey, look. All I'm saying is that y'all would be good yin and yang.
If it ever happens, I'm going to make sure to bring her around you guys as much as possible. So you have to tolerate that shit.
Oh, hell no.
Well, actually, Steve, where do you eat your burger? And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she's the type of white chick who would freaking tell you about what blackness is or what it is to be an ally or some shit. Like, She's like, well,
"Motherfucker,
actually, Steve, you shouldn't use that word."
Yeah, and you know what? I would look you dead in the eyes across the table. I'm like, "You gonna check this? You gonna stop this shit right now?"
Sorry, folks. I'm getting a little overexcited.
And he's gonna sit there sweating. You know, like Key and Peele, that meme where it's like the sweat beads are just dripping, just looking like trying.
Real quick, in the chat, I see we got a bunch of chatters over here. Guilty Mantis says Remax. Okay. Okay, let's get this shit started before I get in trouble.
Oh, if this didn't kill Sabine Wren, how the heck is Han Solo dead? I guess it was the header off the bridge that killed him. Although maybe you could argue that by the very nature of a lightsaber blade, it cauterizes the wound.
No, it can't.
So actually...
If you have a giant hole in you, you can't cauterize all the organs. Like if they cut through your liver, it's not going to cauterize a hole in your liver. Like, but she has a point. Let's look at her point again. Why how are you going to live in this?
So, if this didn't kill Sabine Wren, how the heck is Han Solo dead? I guess it was the header off the bridge that killed him. Although maybe you could argue that by the very nature of a lightsaber blade, it cauterizes the wound. So it's actually not that deadly. I mean, I don't know. I think it takes a little bit of the excitement out of lightsaber fights because you're like, if they poke you with that, don't worry, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I would think, I would think that any torso shot would be deadly. I mean, how about this one? How's the captain not still alive, right? He should be okay. By the way, with that opening sequence, even though the crew was wearing blue and brown uniforms, you could see where it was going. I was like, they're all red shirts. In fact, I felt like you should have put some red detailing into their uniforms to kind of make it an inside joke, right? They were so stupid. The rebellion, or now the New Republic, is so dumb. After seeing how they operate in Mandalorian season 3 and now here, they are the stupidest group of people.
No. I'm gonna hate on her right now. So, unless they are actual Jedis, you have nothing to fear. So why not let them on your ship?
Exactly.
Basically, the chances of there being Jedi since they're extinct is 0.00001% chance that they're actually angry Jedi.
Right. Anyone would have reacted the way that crew did.
Yeah, it would be like, arrest these idiots.
Yeah.
How dare you?
It's amazing. It's just it's shocking how stupid they are. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But I think it would have been fun to have a little. But, I mean, although I guess you can't put red into the uniform of a New Republic officer.
No, they shouldn't reference Star Trek.
Color.
What the?
But I don't know. I would have been tempted because they were so obviously red shirts. Also, the whole opening sequence, it was weird to me because what undercut it was that Vader did it better at the end of Rogue One. I was like, are you really doing a redo, a less adequate
it's not the same
redo
thing.
No,
of that amazing, instantly iconic sequence to open up this show? That was a weird choice. But yes, hello and welcome to my breakdown.
Actually, if I had to compare it to anything, it's not like the Rogue One. That was a totally different type of hallway fight.
Right.
You know what it reminds me of? Phantom Menace opening scene.
Yeah.
Where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan have to fight their way through
droids and stuff.
the Trade Federation ship. And that is when you see people actually use lightsabers correctly.
Right.
Like they put the blast doors down and Qui-Gon puts his blade in there and melts the door.
That's right. Yeah.
Like they really knew what they were doing, and that was cool, man. And I felt like that was this was like the evil version of that.
Yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2 of Ahsoka. Where to start? Don't worry, I will fill you in on all the Rebels connections. But I want this, I have mixed feelings about the show, and so we had a little fun in the opening there, so let's switch to some of the positive things about the show next. I want to talk about coolest moments. So shout out to Dave Filoni for going old school Star Wars from the opening crawl in red. Thank you very much. I like that. As soon as I saw it,
why wasn't it
brought
3D?
A smile to my face. I thought it was very effective, and it was very well written.
It was well written, but why wasn't it? And they did 3 paragraphs just like normal.
But this one really.
So why didn't they do it 3D?
The story had already started, and you were like,
they ran a special effects budget.
Oh, this is going to be great. It was really.
That's what I was going to say
then
earlier.
They cut to a Star Destroyer close-up, which of course is a classic Star Wars move. Only this this time it bore the logo of the New Republic, acting just as dumb as an Empire ship. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And maybe Star Wars.
They had no way of knowing they were Force users.
Organization and bureaucracy. But anyway,
Get off their dick.
I also thought the 1970s look of the crew on the ship was kind of cool. It was very old school Star Wars. But at some points, it was a little too 70s for me. I was like, are they just wearing like flaps over their sneakers for boots? Is that what you guys got going on here? You know, like a cheap Halloween costume?
Oh, boy.
Ahsoka versus droids, though. I love that. Is this dude also a droid, by the way? Because we can't see his face.
Merrick is
but he seems dressed like an Inquisitor. And are there no more Inquisitors at this point, right? I mean, maybe not. Maybe that guy stole all of his stuff.
I think
from
most
the
of them
office,
have
right?
gotten
Like,
murdered.
They're all
and going on an excellent post-career as a hired hand. But he has an Inquisitor-style lightsaber, which I wasn't impressed with in the Obi-Wan show. But then after watching Rebels and seeing what you can do with that style lightsaber, I was excited.
I bet
to
you
see
she
it.
likes the helicopter shit. So I will say pretty much everything having to do with lightsabers in Obi-Wan was terrible and bad. Because they didn't look like real lightsabers, and they just kind of look like glow sticks, and they were just fucking up. You know, there was one part, did you see this, where like Obi-Wan is sneaking around in the darkness, and he goes to kill a stormtrooper, and they didn't edit it correctly, so when he hits him, it bounces off of the armor.
Oh my god!
They did like horrible shit like that.
That is embarrassing.
He had that Beskar armor, man. What you came for his Beskar, man?
It bounced off, boom. But yo, Merrick, the way Merrick uses it, that looks like a very intimidating weapon, and he like does it. It's done right here.
He's the perfect third chair villain, man. It's like, you know, he can't beat Ahsoka, but he gave her a little smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Good.
I wonder if he's going to take off his helmet eventually and turn out to be Cal Kestis.
Yo, it's going to be Ezra. Watch. He's going to pull it off. It's going to be Ezra.
Oh, that's even better.
amazing.
At first, I
That would
thought
be
Cal
amazing.
Kestis, but it would be better if it was
Why you always
Ezra.
disrespecting the ginger, man. You're for that replacement theory. You probably want to recast all the gingers in Hollywood.
That's black.
No, that's absolutely not true. I love banging a good ginger. I'm very attracted to female gingers, and like I wouldn't play some for all the beer in the world.
Gingers are special. They are.
You know, like like on Riverdale, my favorite is that redhead chick.
Hey.
Unfortunately, it seems they couldn't afford to go all out, at least in this sequence. I mean, I'm telling you, when someone deploys one of those things, it should be leading up to an amazing lightsaber battle.
I love their fight.
Ahsoka's first fight against the droids, I loved those droids. When they revealed themselves, I was like, and they were popping up like daisies. There were so many of them. I was like, that is a great droid design. And I knew when she was backing up that she was going to drop down through that hole. So those droids need better programming on their anticipation protocols. But her next move of evening the playing field by dropping down some of the other droids through the ground with her lightsaber, I like that twirl trick. Although, when the lightsabers cut the ground at an angle, it was bothering me that the cuts were straight down. I was like, it would be in an angle because you're not throwing them straight up.
What is she talking about?
Be able to have that,
Yo, I can't even understand what the fuck she's not even speaking English right now.
Nitpicky garbage. I hate that kind of shit.
Here's what I'm saying. If you have complete control of the Force, Ahsoka made them straight.
Yeah,
It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. Why is she thinking about this?
Yeah.
to be able to be exactly perpendicular. It would be more at an angle. This little stuff gets me. All right, so anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen,
but that was
a
cool, and I
YouTuber
didn't
who
see her
has
doing
almost
that.
a million
That's a neat idea.
followers.
But as I said in my non-spoiler review, Rosario
shot.
Dawson, while she looks fantastic in these fights, she's too slow executing them. Executing the fight choreography.
I didn't
which
find
forces
anything wrong with it.
Her opponent to also have to slow down, which makes the entire fight weird. But in her episode 2 droid fight, there were still some cool moments.
The reason why she doesn't know what she's talking about right now is because if that happens on a set, they will fasten it up. And they have such control, they can literally fasten a fight up 0.0008%. You know, they can like super precisely do it. So it doesn't, like what she's saying doesn't make any sense.
Also, we have to keep one thing in context, man. This is something that all films that follow a animated series or something like that suffer from. there's shit you can do in animation. I'm gonna blow your fucking minds right now, right? That the human body simply cannot do. And one of those things is a fucking spinning backflip, right? That looks, that looks convincing in a real fight. I think the choreographer for this, man, decided to make it realistic. That was one knock people had against the original fights, from the prequel trilogy, when Anakin's fighting Obi-Wan. It's literally a fight of parries, right? And anyone that I've talked to that's ever used the weapon before, it's like there's not that many parries.
Yeah, no one's that quick.
parry,
However, the
kill.
idea is that
Parry,
these guys
kill.
are force sensitive, so they can foresee the future.
Right. Look at that face. Look at that face. It's like, what do you mean you don't want the chicken?
But like, I didn't think anything was wrong with the pacing of the fights. I don't know.
It wasn't that great. I'll admit, when Rosario made her premiere in Mando, those scenes, if you go back and watch them, they are kind of labored, but I think she's gotten a lot better for this, man, for sure.
Yeah.
She cut through the glass to go down to the level below. That was from the trailer. It was so cool. Also in the trailer, because these are such amazing moments, is when that Inquisitor type figure let his cape go in the wind. I loved it. It was so great. He's like, I don't even need this cape. I got a whole bunch of them on the ship. Don't worry about it. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah, if Merrick gets
like,
Ezra, I'm going to lose my fucking
cool.
mind.
I appreciate all the lightsaber moves. That was so great to see. But there isn't enough force use still in these fights, either to push back an opponent or to do a super jump. You see that a little. They definitely do it a little bit, but not enough.
If she was a Jedi, she would be murdered within 5 seconds.
Yeah. But actually, she kind of, what your statement you just made, man, and what she's saying right now is why I never bought the high ground shit. I just don't, man. I don't believe that.
Can I explain the high ground thing for a second?
No, you've explained it to me, and I go flaccid every time you try to make it more sense.
Well, prepare to have a limp dick. So here we go, guys.
Hold on, but it's just like this fact, man. You're telling me Anakin, that entire fight. Now I know his emotions got the best of him, but his demonstration of his new power was how high he can jump.
Obviously, the high ground doesn't mean anything. However, the mere fact that his master, who he wanted to one up and prove that he was better of, just simply saying he couldn't, made him do what he did. And so basically, he's like, "Well, fuck you, I'm gonna jump." And then Obi-Wan's like, "Well, that's what I wanted you to do, bitch."
It was hubris. It was hubris. It was
it was great.
Go ahead.
The thing with Anakin versus Obi-Wan too that people need to remember is that if that fight took place in like a flat open field with no anything around, Anakin would have murdered his ass. Obi-Wan outsmarted him. That's the whole idea behind that fight. That's why I hated the show, because then they had him like outfight him. There's no way that would ever happen.
Yeah, he can't outfight the chosen one. He cannot. You cannot. Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Wait, but my issue isn't with the portion about his hubris. I get that. I'm saying that that's lazy writing on Lucas's part. Here we have Anakin boasting about his new power, right? And his demonstration of his power, right? The culmination of the chosen one now falling to the dark side. It's the equivalent of Jesus taking the temptation from Satan in the desert, right? His new power up was a jump.
Also, if you actually watch the trilogy, Anakin is not actually a very smart person.
No.
He's a powerful person. He's a very powerful warrior, but he is constantly an idiot. He's an idiot in Attack of the Clones. He's an idiot in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
You know who else is an idiot?
Because if you watch Rebels again, they have the best Jedi fights Lucasfilm has ever done, and they're using
cartoons, bitch.
Force moves constantly, just as much as they're wielding the lightsaber to move their opponents around to get them out of the way.
Yeah, Steve is right.
Them out. I mean, it's really cool.
She's comparing it to a cartoon where the cartoons have infinite mobility,
and here they're limited. And I guess maybe it's for the budget, but I wish they'd find a way. I mean, they found a way to animate a gazillion droids. Bring me some more Force stuff. It was cool when the Inquisitor called back his blade and Ahsoka nonchalantly just kind of dodged it just a little bit. I was like,
that was a great scene.
There shall be a rematch between them, I'm sure. Speaking of fights, Sabine Wren versus Shin Hati. I'm surprised Star Wars has never gotten called out for all these Asian-style names and having very few. They have some. I mean, they've certainly gotten better. But,
Woke people
they're really,
are a plague on society.
Cultural appropriation is semi-strong with these.
She said
so
it.
I have to say it. It bothers me a little bit, particularly with like David Tennant's.
It's a space name. It's not an Asian name. What the fuck, yo?
Cultural appropriation.
Oh shit!
It's a fake culture. It's not a real culture.
The galaxy far, far, far away in a time that was so far back in the past that was in the future. What the fuck is this bitch on about?
Its name. All right. So anyway, how on earth did Sabine feel that she could take this woman on with having very limited lightsaber skills? I was like, what? I mean, it's important to be brave. But it's also an important lesson to realize the distinction between brave and stupid. Perhaps if Ahsoka had trained her better, I think Yoda would have the guts to say that, to say there was a difference between brave and stupid. This shot was very cool. I was like, ooh, I like that. But after her darksaber training in Rebels, so if you had not seen Rebels, you would just think that Sabine was, not particularly a good fighter. But if you've seen Rebels, and you know that Sabine already had it made clear to her that her best advantage in these fights would be to use both her Jedi and Mandalorian skills, you would be as frustrated as me that she seems to have totally forgotten that very important lesson. It took 2 episodes to teach her that, and then she forgot it.
That's absolutely not what he said. He was telling her, holy shit. When you watch that episode, so when he's training her with the darksaber, there's another Mandalorian there, and that Mandalorian is trying to convince her to use like the grappling rope and the shield. And he basically, what's this guy's name? The Steven Seagal Jedi. Kanan. Kanan basically shuts all that shit down. He's like, you are not going to be able to beat me as the Mandalorian. Why do you think the Mandalorians lost the war to the Jedis? He's like,
right.
He was training her to use the lightsaber the way a Jedi does. Yeah. If you were gonna fucking quote some shit, man, if you're gonna fucking let me turn the camera on for this. If you're gonna fucking quote some shit, right, and try to make your argument with it, please be accurate in it, bro.
This chick, yeah.
Huyang, David Tennant's robot, droid points out that Sabine will never be the best Jedi. She just doesn't have a strong connection to the Force, as he says, any other Jedi who ever lived.
That was amazing.
But I think what he's getting at, and what's already been pointed out to her, is that she can be a great Jedi Mandalorian hybrid, like Grogu. Although, again, why aren't we just exploring this with Grogu? But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's what she should be working towards. And she should have done, when she went and grabbed her lightsaber to take on Shin Hati, she should have grabbed some Mandalorian stuff as well.
Yeah, is it funny that the hot chick's last name is Hottie? I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that when I read it or whatever. But like Shin Hati,
that's why my Jedi name would be David Steele. You know?
All right, other cool moment, this hologram freeze. That was so cool during the briefing. I was like, wow. It's like having really cool collector statues in the room. If only Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati were this cool in their live action appearances. I was like,
they're amazing. What is this bitch talking about?
I mean, that was really cool. I loved that. All right, so before we dive into the characters and their best moments, I want to talk about story parallels and expansion with Rebels, right? Because there's some really interesting stuff going on here. When Ahsoka is in that Night Sisters, aka Daughters of Dathomir, aka Witch's Temple, that's all the same thing, that's just different things to call them. It's very similar to the Jedi Temple that needed to be unlocked at the end of Rebels, which Sabine also was the one to figure out how to open, by the way. So on that note, let's talk about the Force. This, I find this interesting.
She's going to get this wrong.
If you're not really into this, you're not going to love Dave Filoni's Star Wars. Now, one of the interesting things about Rebels was how it expanded the idea of the Force. For instance, there, the Force allowed Ezra Bridger to be able to communicate and work with animals. That was very cool. And on Lothal, by the way, Clancy Brown, who works a lot, I'm sure all of you know who Clancy Brown is, but what you might not know is that he voiced one of the freedom fighters on Lothal in Rebels. So it's a nice little Easter egg that he's playing that same character here, who now leads Lothal again. Ezra, born on Lothal, was close with Lothcats, who are so well realized here. A great really blend of CGI and practical effects. I was like, that looks straight out of like Dark Crystal or Jim Henson or something. I thought that was so cool. And Lothcats would often come to Ezra in dreams to help him, to tell him things or help him, show him the path to take. And he eventually went on to meet Loth wolves, which are so cool. If they bring Loth wolves onto this show, I'm going to get so excited.
That's why they're in the image.
But those are animals so deeply connected to the Force that they could travel through time and space and even move through objects, including a planet. Like one of the coolest shots from Rebels, season 4, is that they're riding these Loth wolves, and the Loth wolves.
It's insane that she calls them shots. It's not a shot. It's a cartoon. A shot is when you take a camera and you look at something.
Yeah.
Does this reviewer of movies and cinema not know this?
She's so
She might not. She might not, bro. She might not.
I need to educate this hoe.
Dive into the grass and into the ground and travel through the middle of the planet, and they all lose consciousness and don't get to see it. But it was so amazing. And to think that that's all stuff that can stem from the Force is really interesting. And of course, when Ezra was able to finally enter that Jedi temple I mentioned, it put him in a place where he too could travel through space and time. And there were doorways to different important moments. And he used that opportunity to save Ahsoka from dying in her fight against Anakin.
Yeah.
And you know what I love is that because she hasn't watched the Clone Wars, she does not understand the mother, the son, the father, the son, and the daughter.
Yeah.
In like a season or two beforehand. And there are rumors that Ahsoka might do a similar thing on this show where she goes through space and time to save Anakin. From what point to do what? We'll see. I don't know if they're going to do that. That would be quite interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is picking up a lot of traction on the internet, man. It's picking up a lot of traction. Just like the whole thing about Homegirl being a Night Sister. When you brought this up earlier, Shaolin, Santos' daughter, that rumor broke early in this shit.
Okay.
Yeah, it broke early that she was going to be a Night Sister, and people were having, not big reactions to it. But this thing with Ezra and the space in between, or whatever the fuck you call it, that has caught so much traction. I mean, not Ezra, with Anakin. They think that she's gonna like go back in time and meet Anakin at a better point and all this shit. And I'm just like, let's not do that. Let's not get Kang with it.
Oh, right? God, that would be crazy and nutty.
I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest with you. I don't know. Yeah. You might not want to touch that.
I think people are speculating. I think it's wild speculation.
Yeah,
I hope so. I really do.
Through this show. I don't even know if that's a good idea. I think that would be insane, but I am also kind of into it because we need all the cool Jedi we can get. So maybe. But I mean, that's what we're talking about here. That's what Rebels has opened up. But anyway, as you can see, Filoni is making the Force more than just Jedi versus Sith. Even the Night Sisters, aka the Daughters of Dathomir, aka witches, they are Force wielders in their own right, in their own unique way. And this is further interesting by the fact that you're dealing with former Jedi here who are also no longer adhering to the idea of there's just Sith versus Jedi. Ahsoka, during Clone Wars, left the Jedi Order to go on her own path as a rogue Force user. And isn't that what Baylan and his apprentice are doing? I mean, sure, they're still on the Jedi-Sith spectrum. They're both just more towards the middle. And I think that's maybe why Baylan respects Ahsoka and says it would be a pity to have to kill her because, he says there are so few Jedi left, so few. But I think also because I think there's a kinship between the two of them, and that while they're still both Jedi, not really. They're both deciding what that means to them and defining it for themselves, right? I mean, Baylan's definitely gone over to the Sith side, but I think he feels, again, it's a sliding scale, and you can move on that scale. He's like, Sith today, maybe Jedi tomorrow. You don't know, and we don't know.
I just had to point this out. A Sith is an order of warrior priests. They are a specific type of evildoer. Yeah. Someone who just falls to the dark side is just on the dark side. It's different than being a Sith.
Yeah, it kills me. People used to do that with Kylo Ren. He used to bug the shit out of me. That boy is not a Sith.
He's not a Sith.
They don't even respect the rule of two, right? Like I don't think they understand how the Sith work. I don't think she knows that the Sith used to be an actual race.
Right.
That's how they started, yeah.
But that's my problem with Homeboy in the game, man. I know he was on Dathomir, but not everyone just bleeds their lightsaber, like their kyber crystals when they turn to the dark side.
Right.
And this is something the game is really guilty of. Homeboy did it on Dathomir, right? And then in the new game, the fucking Knight from the High Republic, you wake him up, spoiler alert, and he almost instantly bleeds his crystal.
Right.
Like it's nothing, and like there was no lead up to it, and why the
Oh
Sith do
wow.
that. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't like it at all.
Maybe that'll happen. This is also why having Huyang as Ahsoka's team is such a fantastic idea, as was made evident during
I do like him as a droid.
episodes.
I love him very
He
much.
is the droid who helps train all the Jedi and specifically helps them craft their lightsabers. He's like a database of Jedi, not only of Jedi individually, but mapping their different approaches in the paths that they've taken. He is a Jedi expert, having studied them for hundreds of years. What a great idea as we explore what it means to be a Jedi, after the original trilogy. I mean, that's just such a neat idea. I really like that.
I agree with that.
I thought it was great that Huyang was able to identify Balin by his lightsaber, and that he also illustrated to Sabine how Jedi and the Force work, that no new energy is created. Instead, it transfers and evolves. I love that. He points that out because she says that's Ezra's lightsaber. And he says, it was Ezra's lightsaber, but it's been transferred to you and you've made your own modifications to it. And now it's your lightsaber. Oh, I thought that was, people are making new lightsabers. Don't get me wrong. But I think that idea is really beautiful. Also in Rebels, they had a Jedi funeral, which also kind of alluded to this, which was also really fascinating. So this is a very sophisticated way of looking at the Force, although I'm not sure how mainstream it is, because the more you complicate something, the more niche it becomes. I'm looking at you, Westworld. So I question, the business kind of idea of doing this exploration, but I certainly like it. I am also enjoying the further exploration of the importance of master and Padawan, or master and apprentice, depending on, again, what side of the spectrum you're on. Beyond training the next generation. At least that's how I've always just looked at it, as teacher and student. But Huyang points out that Ahsoka is vulnerable in the field because she doesn't have a Padawan to watch her back. I thought that was great. And we discover that was great. Briefly Sabine. Why did they do that off camera? What a stupid idea. Why not make it that Ahsoka realizes she needs a Padawan during this show when we were watching and decides to recruit Force-sensitive Sabine?
No, because what it is he puts the idea in her head. However, she can't be like, well, I need a manservant to follow me around, because that's fucking abusive and fucked up. What it is it's better that Sabine chooses herself to be like, I need to be your apprentice. Yeah, right. But they can't have it where Ahsoka's like, I need an apprentice to watch my back and to set off booby traps. Yeah. Right. But Grace never thinks
on the show that we're actually watching. I guess they wanted to hit the ground running, and Sabine already have some Jedi training under her belt, but she already had Darksaber training. Just do a montage like everyone else, man. Montage, man.
I want her to have a montage later.
I feel bad that we missed that. Yeah. Right. But still, this whole thing, and I think they're going to continue with this, and I like that. It makes me excited. It gives more depth to the master-Padawan or apprentice relationship. And I think that's really cool. So as we start to let's put together a team, right? Let's take a moment to appreciate Ahsoka's awesome ship, a T6 Jedi shuttle. It doesn't look very sexy flying around, but the inside is faboo. Oh, wow. From the bunks. Those are very small bunks, though. Absolutely no privacy. But Sabine is a graffiti artist, by the way, which they didn't do enough with here. She's usually always graffitiing. But here, she's
an adult now, bitch.
But she's a graffiti artist.
When you're a teenager, you tag shit up. When you grow up, you gotta chill.
But I also love the main multifunctional room, which has is capable for hollow meetings, but also turns into a coffee clutch. Really nice stuff. I think this is a very well-designed ship. I love it.
Yeah, can you pause?
All right, so now let's dive into the characters on the show beyond us.
Yeah, we finally got an upgrade that was sorely needed in one of these shows, man. It was so nice that Dana Santos' daughter had a hologram that was in color. Right? When she's
yeah.
I was like, that was an obvious upgrade, but goddamn, it was sorely needed.
I didn't even notice. That's a good point.
No, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Ahsoka. Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren found out that she was Force sensitive when Fate brought her she crossed paths with the Darksaber, which she briefly wielded, by the way. And now, of course, everyone knows what the Darksaber is because of the Mandalorian. Now, Sabine's Mandalorian clan, House Vizsla, is quite powerful in the Mandalorian hierarchy, making her sort of a Mandalorian princess, just like Bo-Katan.
Wait, she's a Vizsla?
And she and Bo-Katan have worked together in the past, also. However,
everyone's
Ren
a fucking
is not
Vizsla
only a
now.
talented graffiti artist, but a talented weapons expert as well. And in fact, went through the Empire's weapons trading program.
Oh, that's another thing I
thing.
That's another thing I fucking hate about a thing. She created the Duchess, which destroys Beskar.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyone wearing it. It can't kill the. But if you got it on, you're all fucked.
Yeah, no, that is a. They do not understand. I don't understand if they're gonna like touch on that again, but like that is a dangerous plot to put in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Mando's fucked.
Yeah, this bitch is OP. This bitch is OP. Now she's a Jedi too.
Program, where there she created a very powerful weapon for the Empire, which went and used it on her own Mandalorian people. Which is why when we first meet her in Rebels, she's gone into self-imposed exile because she feels she did such a huge betrayal, and she totally did. She's not wrong. Now, eventually on Rebels, that got resolved. To a point, you can never really resolve that. She was responsible for many, many deaths. But clearly Sabine still carries that guilt because being a genius weapons expert brings great responsibility. But now she's also haunted by Ezra sacrificing himself to get rid of Thrawn at the end of Rebels. You know, Sabine painted that mural out of pain, out of missing Ezra. And, you know, Ezra as you kind of see here, Ezra kind of said, Sabine, we have the closest bond. I'm trusting you to, like, find me. And she didn't really seem to do anything about it except just kind of camp out in Lothal, I guess, and continue.
What are you going to do, though?
I don't see her looking for him.
Motherfucker magically got whisked away.
Space whales.
There's also, speaking of their history on Rebels, always a little flirtation.
Fucking space whales. They have
At least
tentacles.
I thought that Ezra seemed to really like Sabine.
Jesus.
So I don't know why he said that she was like a sister to him. I was like, whoa, Ezra, why are you harshing your own mellow here, man? What's going on? He's like, he's blocking himself. It's bizarre. Anyway, Bordezo her look here is absolutely fantastic. Although her chipped manicure is driving me absolutely crazy. I'm like, At first I thought it was just an interesting manicure. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. And
The problem she has with this shot is her manicure. And not the fact that this bitch yesterday got stabbed with a fucking lightsaber by a trained Jedi.
And she got a rash on her stomach.
And all it is a fucking rash.
Ridiculous.
I can't take these fucking things.
Like, no, it's just not at all maintained. But anyway, when she cuts her hair, which, by the way, is exactly like how Kanan cuts his hair in Rebels. I'm like, what? I still can't figure out why they had them both cut it the same way.
That's a samurai thing, though.
I guess
that's a samurai thing, bundling it.
Set up afterwards, but he did that by himself. So I guess maybe this is just like how everyone gives themselves super serious haircuts in Star Wars. But that was a really interesting choice, which again, you would never know if you hadn't seen Rebels.
I didn't think about
I was
that.
like, anyone who saw Rebels would be like, ooh. But I felt bad that she lost the orange tips on her hair because it looks so beautiful in the sunlight. She lost all color gradation to her hair, which she's always had. I was like, after she cuts her hair, can she fix the color again? Because, she's an artist.
All right, let's go.
She's lost the will to create because of Ezra. But with her Mandalorian armor back on at the very end of episode 2, she does look very much like her character from the show. No jetpack, though. She always has rocked a jetpack. I'm disappointed in that. And also, I missed the checkerboard pattern.
I'm jetpack out.
That was such a cool part of her original look. And
Maybe
there's no reason she can't have a checkerboard pattern here. I'm like, bring back the checkerboard. She did once like a TIE fighter with checkerboard stuff. It was amazing. The live action costume just looks less cool than her animated one. And I don't see why they couldn't exactly duplicate
we understand.
it. I find it a little frustrating.
Because that's the same thing as the fights.
As a weapons expert,
cartoons
Sabine is
will always
quite
look
clever
cool.
and able to unlock the star map. She's very good at tech and figuring it out and stuff like that. And I thought they did that sequence pretty well. I believed it. Thank goodness Ahsoka digitally mapped the temple before it was destroyed. None of these puzzles, by the way, though, are as clever or as complex as any of the ones on Rebels. And these all seem pretty easy to me, which makes it even more frustrating that they take so long to solve them. I'm like, I can see they're solved, just do it. Unlocking
Bet
the
you
Jedi
wouldn't
Temple
solve
in
shit
season
if you
4
were-
Rebels was a much cooler sequence. I thought they were going to do that with the temple in the beginning.
I
of episode
promise you,
1. I
she'd
was
be
like,
staring at that thing
Freaky's gonna
forever.
move too, and they
You wouldn't know what to do.
I did like that the evil droid was smart enough to smash up all of Sabine's equipment so
Yeah, I
she wouldn't have a
enjoyed that.
record of what she uncovered. Human henchmen are not as smart. I was like, give that droid henchman a raise, or whatever a droid wants. Although I thought maybe the Loth cat saw the star map come alive, so when Ahsoka went back, I thought that she would be able to see the star map through the Loth cat's eyes using the Force.
Oh,
but I
that's
guess
a
she
good
would
one. I
was
Ezra,
thinking
I
that-
think, would have totally done that. I'd be
That's
like, you were
clever.
there, weren't you, Loth cat? Let me see it through your eyes.
Good work, Steve.
No.
By the way, Sabine was living in Ezra's old hideout on Lothal, and so that old communications
I didn't
tower,
even
the
catch
highway
that.
leading to it, that look of the city, all right out of Rebels. Next, here is Syndulla. Where the heck is her son? Did they also figure out that was a bad idea? Because at the end of Rebels, after Kanan's tragic, heartbreaking death, which none of us will ever get over, and Freddie Prinze Jr. said he's not coming back. I hope he's just Andrew Garfield. Because I want him to come
shit,
back.
he said
Come
that?
back as a Force ghost.
I thought he was all about Star
Ahsoka's
Wars.
gonna run around in the
Bro,
the
he
past
is the
saving people.
angriest Star
Go
Wars
pull
historian.
Kanan. That's what I would like you to do. Pull Kanan out of the
Mad,
explosion
bro.
at the
Like,
last minute.
just calm
That would
down.
make me so happy. Go get
It's
Kanan.
not that bad.
That's what she needs to do. Sorry, Anakin. I would much. Who would you rather have back? If you could only have one. I mean, if she wants to go grab both of them, I'm not going to complain. But if you were running around in the Jedi Temple or whatever, and you could only bring back one Jedi and save them from a point in time right before their death, would it be Anakin or would it be Kanan? It would, for me, 1,000,000,000,000% be Kanan. Because, boy, if you have not seen Kanan fight, you are missing out. And it's Freddie Prinze Jr. of all people. I still can't get over that was him. He did a great job.
Well, I
no,
would
Right.
wait. Hold on. I
Yeah,
would
he's
choose
the gig.
Anakin because that would save the
So
galaxy.
anyway, after
Yeah.
his death, it was revealed that he
I thought the same
apparently
exact
had
thing.
one amazing night with Hera, at least, and that she had a son with him. So I guess the New Republic has amazing daycare, because where is this kid? And it's been a couple of years. So I think he was pretty big when we actually last saw him. So he should be walking around, quite frankly.
And is he
Anyway, I
forcing
never
it?
got the feeling, even on Rebels, that Syndulla had any real power in the rebellion. Largely because I never saw her controlling everybody. She never was ordering anyone around or giving, she never had a squad. She almost more seemed like a point person to the rebellion, like the contact person for the Rebels team to interact with the rebellion.
You guys know
right?
about,
and that's how it feels when this show
Rogue
first-
One.
What about it?
General Syndulla is named in Rogue One. That's all.
Oh,
Really?
yeah, I did know that. Yeah, I think you can even see the ghost at some point. in
Oh
that.
right, yes.
And yeah.
In the final battle when they're
Yeah.
all going attacking that planet.
That's right.
starts out. Again, no one's following orders from her. She's just there by herself, being like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I can." Make
Because
people do
generals
stuff."
go
And you're
around
like,
bossing
"Okay,
people around
I'm
all
just gonna
fucking
take your word for
That's
it,
what a
and your
general-
track record. So also, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, by the way, has a totally different vibe than the animated version of the character.
Mary
which
Elizabeth
also
Winstead.
first threw me off. But in episode 2, she started to be a little bit more like Hera. Like, for instance, her giving motherly advice and guidance to both Ahsoka and Sabine separately. Classic Hera, if you watch Rebels. You're like, I see Hera. And then also when she was at the manufacturing facility and she starts to throw her weight around as a general a little bit, she's like, you want to bet I can't declassify that? I was feeling it. I was like, that's awesome. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead did that better than Hera ever did on the animated series. I was like, I'm seeing the general. But again, why would a general go to such a situation without any troops with her? Why doesn't she even have a small battalion to go with her? I mean,
Yo-
it makes no sense.
Okay, I gotta say
But then
this.
when she takes to this,
You can tell that Grace Randolph is a petty, small, pathetic person. She is like, she's like Joffrey from Lord of the, not Lord of the Rings, but Game of Thrones.
That guy.
Courtney, are you a fan?
Oh yeah, that twerp that got poisoned, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the thing: when he constantly screams, "I am the king! Listen to me! I am the king!"
Yeah.
and his grandfather goes, "Any man who has to scream, 'I am the king' to get people to listen to him is no true king."
Yo.
And that's what it is. Grace Randolph would run around with her armies and her troops, ordering people around, and that just shows that you're not a true commander.
Yeah. Yep.
So basically, her normal live streams.
Yes. Basically, yeah.
No disrespect.
All disrespect,
Sky,
man.
Hera is known for being an ace pilot. That's her claim
You're
to
an
fame.
animal, Grace.
And she had Chopper in tow with her. Then things got.
I
really,
love the
then things
chopper
really
scene,
started
by
to
the way.
bruise,
Yeah,
particularly
yeah.
for these two
Loved
characters.
it.
This
Loved
again was
it.
classic Hera and Chopper. Chopper is another great droid. In my opinion, better than R2-D2. He's third because he doesn't talk. He kind of talks, but to me it goes K2SO, Hoyang, and Chopper. Then Chopper. Those are my favorite droids. But I do love Chopper's bad attitude. The way he's always throwing his arms
You ain't
around,
get no
throwing
love
them
to
up in the
BD?
air and being
Fuck up.
great. He's so good. And he still
All
has
right.
his bad attitude in spades. He's still throwing his arms around when he bangs on the ship. I love it. I love it. Who would have guessed that arms would do so much to bring a R2-D2 style droid to life? These are hard words to say in close succession, but I loved it. They got Chopper right, which was really fantastic to see. So back to that manufacturing facility, I do like, as we saw in Mandalorian Season 3, exploring the idea that the Empire was so big and had so many people working for it that you can't get rid of it entirely. So can you really get rid of it at all? It's really just kind of lying in wait, like in waves for what the general, these ideologies are fighting to sway the general public, just like real life, independent voters in the middle are the ones that really decide elections. You're always going to have your diehards on both sides. So that to me is very interesting to explore that in the world of Star Wars. Again, some people might not want politics in their Star Wars, but I find it very interesting. Now, of course, we all found it very frustrating with the latest Star Wars movies that the Empire was replaced by the First Order, which was pretty much the
I did
exact
find that
same
frustrating.
thing. Because that's not how that's not how it works according to history. Like old foes do rise to power again. For instance, look at how the Nixon administration came back secretly under George W. Bush. Right? But they
What the fuck? Yo, that is a crazy accusation, and she's just sliding it in the middle of a Star Wars analysis.
And was so straight-faced and serious about it too. That was the best part.
And
Yeah,
said
she
it
does
like
that
it
all
was
the
a
time. Like she will say something that is like truly like hardcore, like
insane.
liberal, like
Yeah.
propaganda, as if it is fact. And so, like that is like you see this bitch.
Yep, I see her.
I'm telling you right now, and this is not a threat of violence. I'm just saying this is about this is about timing. I'm gonna one day take a shit on her grave.
Wow.
Because I'm gonna outlive her, and I'm gonna take a shit on this bitch's grave.
That is rough.
And I'm gonna take one of those American flags with a wooden stick and put it right in there.
Yo, we getting
God bless America, bitch.
We're getting full effect Mantis tonight, baby. 100% effect in full tonight, my man.
Yeah, oh my God, this
Treated different. Like, and that's why they were able to do it. Because they kind of like snuck in. It was like a Trojan horse kind of operation.
Yeah, that's
but I
not
don't see no
fucking.
Trojan
That
horse
is not
here.
factual.
Empire's
She's
just
not
waltzing
stating
right back
facts
in.
right now.
So I don't know. I mean, but the New Republic is so stupid and letting it happen and so poorly run themselves that I guess they didn't need to have a Trojan horse. Everybody just ran back to the old idea because they don't like the way things are being run by the new government, which I guess that is a little bit out of history. But the New Republic is just so dumb. I can't believe it. Like, how can a manufacturing facility that large be churning out so many assassin droids?
That's a
and
good point,
making a
man.
hyperjump engine of that.
It's not a good. I don't think it's a good point at all because
No, I'm talking about the factory, man. Like, I get the subterfuge of it. I enjoyed all of that, man.
Right.
But at a certain point, right? Like, this guy's talking about investors. He clearly stated that his moral compass is ambiguous at best. When they arrived there, I would slash him with a lightsaber instantly. I'm like, what?
Oh, right. Yeah, I totally was like, why are they trusting this dude? But what I'm saying is in real life, it's like normal, legitimate factories and pharmaceutical developers and all these things that are producing drugs and they're producing all sorts of fucked up black market items.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not that unusual.
Dies without anyone noticing. Like, does everyone at that facility? They didn't say everyone at that facility.
Because her whole thing is she believes that like authority and policing is like 100% accurate, and they're like would be able to crack down on that immediately. But the truth is that is how shit is done.
Grace is 100% giving you up to the Empire if they come to her.
Yo, she's on the list. I'm saying they come from
said
me.
Probably just enough people to be able to do some secret stuff. But like no one, like called the tip line.
How
to the
does
New
she
Republic.
think that illegal
also, aren't
operations
there regular
happen?
inspections? Aren't there supposed to be
Right.
at least annual inspections? Although if you know you're employing so many former Empire people, wouldn't you be doing monthly inspections? I mean, the Empire sure did. They looked like they were doing weekly inspections in the Empire. I mean, the Empire were no geniuses, but they weren't this level dumb. Is the New Republic so disdainful of the Empire, being like, we're not going to be like the Empire, and so naive that they didn't even bother to create their own
they're like
intelligence
liberals.
bureau? I mean, it's
Oh my
absolutely
God.
but it's also infuriating because I guess you do kind of see it happening in history. So it's just as annoying to see it happening in a fictional show. And I kind of think it's cool, though, too, because I love that holding a mirror up to stuff that we're experiencing now. All right, so as for the rest of the 2 episodes, I don't have too much to say about Morgan Elspeth right now, although I do like her dress, which actually it's revealed are pants. I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. I like that. Costume-wise, though, I think some of them are a bit overly bulky. Like, they didn't choose the right fabric, and so they don't look as good as they should. Like,
the
Balin
fuck
and
is
Hattie's
this bitch
cloaks,
talking
so
about?
unwieldy. I'm
It's
like,
an
how much fabric
animated
do you guys
show.
have on there? This must be so
Nitpicky
heavy.
garbage.
There was one weird moment also during the Hattie Ren fight, where for some reason Hattie like did a dance move where she moved her cloak over Sabine's head, and I'm like, are we dancing or fighting here? I guess a little bit of both. And then also I was disappointed in Ezra's jacket. I was like, that is so bulky. It looks so bad. Why would you make it out of that material? Why wouldn't you make it out of Lycra or whatever Harris pants are made out of? I was like, those are some nice pants. I liked this guy as the Lothal police pilot. He really popped on screen. And he's just trying to do his job, Sabine. I felt bad for him. These medical droids, right out of Rebels as well. And I liked when Hoi Yang asked Sabine if she was done with
She
her
said right out of Rebels, right out of the original trilogy. What the fuck is this bitch talking about? She doesn't even know Star Wars enough to know that droid is from the original.
Welcome to Grace Randolph's world, man.
Ah,
Welcome to it.
we done with her?
Yeah, we're done with her, man.
Oh yeah.
I hope you get crabs, bitch. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, before we wrap it up, though, I gotta ask you guys, man. What are you rating it? Are you giving these first 2 episodes 1 through 10? 10 being amazing. Where are you rating it at? I'm giving it an 8.5.
Yeah, and I would do that for both.
Yes, I'm giving between the 2, 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it gives us some room. Obviously we've been hurt before. We want to believe that this is going to be just all upward trajectory after this, but we understand that Disney Plus has a format like, hey, here are these first 4 amazing episodes. We're gonna drag out 5 and 6, and then 7 should not have even been filmed, and your final episode will leave you wanting more.
Oh god! Suddenly, like in episode 7, they're gonna cut to a completely different character. Watch an episode on
It's gonna be
that.
Mando again. No, it's gonna be Boba Fett. It's gonna be
It's Boba Fett. And it's
wait, no, I got something to piss you both off. It's gonna be the sister from Obi-Wan. They're gonna pick up with her in the desert.
Not really. Oh God. I fully believe Disney's smart enough that we will never see her ass again. I fully believe she's gone completely. Fully.
Yo, fuck this shit. This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
Go ahead, Charlie. What you about to say?
Oh no. No.
I'm having a lot of fun with the series. I hope it maintains that. I hope they don't do any bait and switch shit or anything. Yeah, no, we have to get together for the finale.
Absolutely.
Finale's gonna
Let's
be.
do it.
Gotta bring
Let's do it.
Gotta bring the 4th member back up. We'll get RM up here. Did RM watch it? You talked to RM about it yet?
RM watched it tonight.
Oh,
When I was on my way back from work, I was like, "Did you watch it?" And then she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, we're doing a review of it." And so she didn't show up. So I guess she didn't watch it. She didn't want to be spoiled or whatever. But yeah.
well,
Is
I
she
had a
on
great.
Instagram?
What?
Is she on Instagram?
She is.
Okay, you should add her to the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a great time. I can't wait to watch the next episode of this. I have a feeling that like people are kind of like lukewarm on it, but they don't realize it's the beginning. like, think about it this way: half of the stuff we've seen in trailers hasn't even showed up yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen Grand Thrawn. Imagine what the other galaxy is like. What is this race that did it? And I feel like they've set up enough drama points where, like, I am vested.
I'm going to key in on what you said earlier, man. I have hope, right? I have hope they're going to tell us a great new story, man. Give us some filler to this great universe. I'm looking forward to it. It comes on Wednesdays, or what time is it? Like
It's Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, okay. So my day off, I can watch that shit at 3 a.m. I assume.
I don't know, but Tuesday is a shitty day to release it. But Disney has not been brainiacs in the streaming game, as we all know.
Yeah. What we got going on tomorrow? Anyone streaming? Anyone doing anything great?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to keep my head up. But however, both you and me have radio shows, am I right?
That's right. Tomorrow, end of the week, Spin 95, Throwback Spin with Steve, man, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Last show of the week. Looking forward to the weekend, but looking forward to recording tomorrow morning, bright and early. In case you didn't know, the shows are pre-recorded. That's why you can't talk to us during the show.
Fat Mantis is doing Hot 95 tomorrow, same time, 4 to 8. I also do them mad early in the morning, just because I want to bring you, like, the most recent shit, yo. And I have a feeling like there's not a lot going on. Hopefully, there'll be some sort of war breaking out while I'm asleep. And I'll wake up to some crazy shit.
I mean,
because quite frankly, I'm tired of talking about Taylor Swift. That bitch is forever in the news.
Yeah.
Like, she needs to chill right now. Like, you were oversaturating yourself right now, girl.
Actively avoid it, man. Yo, I had a lot of fun, guys. I am signing off, man.
All right.
Peace. Courtney.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Courtney.
Wait. What do you got going on, man?
Oh, look, man. I'm just living through each day. Look, my mission is to wake up and make it through, go to sleep, and then do it again the next day. So, nothing exciting, but maybe you'll catch me on here again soon. You can follow me on Instagram, Shallow Nice Boxer.
Yo.
If you want to.
I need to have you as a guest on my show. Burn Your Degree.
Hey, I like
Also, we got to give the brother a shout out. Your school recently won a tournament, man. Don't try to get out of here without
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The whole lightsaber combat thing. It's going pretty well, man. Like my members are kicking ass. They're placing in tournaments. Was recently one in Vegas. Had one of my ladies place second. Nice. I'm winning awards too. This is going very well, man. So can't complain too much. We doing it.
Saberlight Nights. There you go, man. Charlottesville, Virginia. Check it out, guys.
Follow him on TikTok, man. Great videos on TikTok.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, having fun on TikTok. I ain't posted in a while, but yeah, follow me on there for some mild entertainment. I'll be glad to oblige you. Okay? That's what I do.
Well, all right. Yo, this is the Fat Mantis signing off. This is my man.
Steve, real name, no gimmicks.
And my man.
Hey, Shallow Nice Boxer, a.k.a. Courtney. Love you guys. Appreciate you.
Signing off, guys. This is the end of that great episode. Had so much fun. Fuck Grace Randolph. Peace.